All right. Good afternoon, folks. Here's hoping my mic works finally the first time. If it does, please say in the chat you can hear me. If not, I'll be terrified within 10 seconds. Anyway, good afternoon. Welcome to Smudcast number 435. This is the original end of Evangelion. Is a masterpiece. Why is the video playing? I don't know why the video is playing.
No.
Hit play. Oh, wait. It's fine now. Okay, great. Thank you. Anyway, this is a video by Kaze Talks, and it came out 2 years ago in August. Has about 70,000 views. I don't know how many dislikes because they.
So this is before
86.
the most recent 3.3.
This is more and more broken.
Evangelion, like the recent movie and like the final ending of Evangelion.
Yeah, this is the original Evangelion ending, which.
Right. So I'm saying like this guy isn't taking into account the current.
No.
Ending.
There were.
Well, it's better that way, honestly. It's just too much for humans.
It's hard to rewatch that. Yeah, I like watching when it first starts off, the themes and the characters and the conflicts. Those are cool. I like it. It's a cool looking show. Very well done. Good music. They have an entire episode dedicated to music. I thought it was pretty cool. So lots of good storytelling and artwork and stories and characters. And then you get to the later half or the later quarter, I would say, where you see things begin to fall apart. The production starts getting wonky. They have those catch-up episodes.
Production.
Yeah, they have those just amalgamated episodes where it's just they take old clips and throw them together. And it's like, oh, this is
it's Gainax got really good at cheaping out when it comes to animation. Evangelion was not the one where they could figure that out. They were still working on it. Like you look at Fooly Cooly.
Right.
Like how often Fooly Cooly just becomes complete just mush, but everything is still clear and you can understand what's going on. But they clearly did it to cut costs.
Right. And with
Ava, they hadn't figured that out yet.
And with Fooly Cooly, the dramatic arc is, I would say, not the same, but it's reminiscent of Evangelion. That's why I say if you like Evangelion, just stop watching it and just watch Fooly Cooly instead. Because you're not going to be happy with what happens at the end.
And ignore all the sequels.
If you like Evangelion, just go watch any Trigger anime. Because it's the Gainax, but better.
Oh, yeah?
Considering it's ex-Gainax people.
It sucks.
It kind of follows the same formula, yeah?
A lot of it is very similar, and it's very much the same style.
Yeah, well, I do remember the late 90s that this was the show to watch. Everyone had to watch Evangelion. And
it's still ballyhoo. It's still, like, when it comes to animation, yes, it's still worth watching and taking. Writing, on the other hand.
Well, I'm trying to compare it to other mecha shows that are more realistic or more serious. And outside of Robotech or Gundam, Fooly Cooly sort of comes close. Rosaphon is the one I usually recommend. There's Gurren Lagann, which also has... It's more cartoony, goofy fun with high drama. So there's a few of them that you could say, oh, yeah, you should probably watch these as well, if not just those, because Evangelion, it has some great ideas. It has some good stories, some good episodes. I really like some of those. Very like the Hedgehog's Dilemma. I think it was episode 14 or 16. And it just shows the depth of the characters and what they're going through and all this wonderful stuff. Why you hate the characters, why you love the characters. It's all there until you get to the last few episodes and it just falls apart. So that's why I say to just skip it. Just skip even. Get to the point you really like it and just stop watching because you're not going to get anything more out of it.
Yeah, I think it's mostly the point that Shinji never grows. He just stays Shinji.
He has
the entire time. Like at the end of the series, like he should be where he gets to at the current like movie end, where he actually stands up to his dad or like says what he's thinking. But he never gets there, and you're just sitting there like, okay, is he finally going to,
You mean end of Evangelion or the rebuilds?
The rebuilds. In the rebuilds, he actually stands up to his father. Which,
yes.
Whoever would have wanted him to do that at some point and, grow, but he never did that, and that's what I think. which is one of the reasons why this ending is so because it's like everyone's like, yeah, you did a good job, and he's like, he didn't do anything. He just sat there and whined the entire time, and that's why the whole getting the robot Shinji is the thing.
Yeah,
He got into the robot. It was good.
Yeah.
Applaud.
He did run away a few times. I remember that.
Yes,
and then,
but
and
that
then
was
he came back
like
because
3 separate times.
yeah, I know, but because what's his name? Was it Kanji? I can't remember who it was. He was just watering some watermelons. And he's like, well, you could go there, or you don't have to. It's like, no big deal. Whatever you want to do. It's like kind of that weird Man of Steel moment. It was like, whatever you want to do.
And so he runs away because he doesn't want to fight, but then he comes back because people are getting hurt. Like there's points where you can see a good person in Shinji, but he's that stereotypical. He's just too terrified to fight, but he never gets out of that being this terrified child. Like there's points where it looks like he's going to be like break out of his shell and grow up and like come to terms with it he needs to do, but because everyone tells him he needs to do that, he keeps reverting back to being the giant weenie that he is the entire series.
Right. And people are
because he's trying to rebel, but he's doing it wrong, which is a weird thing to say about rebelling.
Yeah, people are giving examples of better anime in the chat. There's all kinds of better anime out there, so it's not like you can't find it. But I was trying to zero in on the actual, I guess, the mecha genre or the stories with mecha in them. Like you can even go to Code Geass, I guess. That's
yeah. Look at what Tyler said. Erika 7.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
I guess I honestly haven't watched any Gundam, but I assume a lot of Gundam has better written main characters.
Oh yeah, the whole
Robotech as well.
Yep, Macross along with Robotech, same idea.
Macross.
They don't cheese it as much as Evangelion.
Yeah, like I think Ava carries itself purely on its aesthetics because it looks like a cool show,
right?
And all the designs are very, very cool.
I mean, it is a cool show. It's just like nobody could come up with like good conclusion for like 2 decades. So
yeah, it feels like
remained as an unfinished.
Go ahead.
When you talk about a writer who can write a good story, it's like, okay, I could write a good short story and I could turn that short story into an animation and that will be a cool episode on a certain arc of whatever, or it could just be episodic storytelling. That'd be fine. But with this sort of progression where there's a plot, where you have aliens trying to take something from the planet Earth and there's a whole organization in a city and they're organized and they have all this technology and they know how to use it. It's bizarre at times where a whole building just houses a gun and it's just designed specifically for that purpose. It's just this strange, like, okay, this is the world we're in now. And you're expecting a conclusion that makes some degree of relevance, or even if it never has a satisfying denouement, at least it builds to something where now if they had more time, they could have done more. It never does that. It just ends with this bizarre congratulatory, hey, audience, you got to the end. You did good. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye. Like, it's just the strangest. I don't know I've ever seen that.
You know what's weird? Evangelion feels like it would be a stereotypical JRPG. Like,
really?
Yeah, the beats were like, beating, like having to defeat God and whatnot, like using God's own weapons against him. It feels like it could be a very decent art JRPG.
Oh, okay.
I think you have been playing too much Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, if you take this and change the words and change the mythos to be a fantasy setting with like instead of God,
not even fantasy. Like a JRPG can be with modern stuff as well. Like it doesn't need to be just magic and stuff like that. Like take Xenoblade for example. That's not a magic. I mean, it has magic in it, but it's not a fantasy. It's not like a.
This is a problem I have not with just Eva, but even Xenogears. After I love a comment. There's a guy called Toasty Frog or Frogspite.net. I can't remember what he's called now. His real name. He used to work for 1UP, I think. He says, after Eva, dumbness comes. And that's where we got Xenogears. And I don't know what Xenoblade does exactly. But every iteration of trying to emulate religion with mecha and fighting God has just the dumbest psychobabble, mythological symbolism. It's so dumb. Like, if you think of Eva as, it's very intelligent. They have all this research and reference and the AT field and this concept of being penetrated by your worst fears or whatever the hell they're talking about in psychology. It's like, that's awesome. They did some research. They conjured together some kind of script. When you actually stop and think about it, it's like, wait a second. You're trying to tell me that humans are put on this planet all for a bunch of angel-like aliens to come by and just assimilate us into some weird, unique life form? Like, really? Like, okay, that's a weird. I've seen stories like that before in science fiction, in short stories, in trilogies. It's not unheard of, but it's too quick. It's too like, whoa, slow down. Where's the denouement? Where's the gradation of understanding? Like, you have to wrap this around your brain, and it never happens for me. I'm always sitting there going, well, that's an angel of earthquakes. Okay. Why is it drilling into the ground if it controls earth? Oh, okay, it's just a name. All right, fine. Okay, it's fine. And all this other nonsense. So
I found it okay, done okay in Xenoblade.
Oh, that's, games of Japanese anime inspired Japanese gaming way better in that direction than the other direction.
Yeah, like Xenoblade doesn't get too psychobabbly.
It mainly just takes ideas and plays them out instead of going all abstract paragraphs on you.
Yeah, like if you look at Xenogears,
that's how you rather do this when you think, oh, this is a neat concept, let's integrate it.
Yeah.
You play it out instead of giving the player a lecture.
They had the concept of splitting minds, having multiple personalities within a space opera religious scenario setting, and generations and people being reborn and past trauma, all kinds of crazy stuff happening. And then, just like Eva, Xenogears ran out of money, and they had to make a second disc and finish it up really quickly. And the first hour of that second disc was just a giant PowerPoint presentation, I think. So
yeah, they wanted to at least there's at least a third of the game missing. So
Yeah,
plus
yeah.
50%.
yeah, and I'm not saying the last part is not.
So I thought it was the publisher making pressure.
Well, that's part of it. There are other pressures on that game where they wanted it to be the next Chrono Trigger, and that got scrapped, and they threw people around and got a different producer. So things changed, but it just came down to scheduling, because there's lots of great moments in Eva as Xenogears with all this psychobabble and mythology, but it doesn't go anywhere very conclusive. And then they tried to, I don't know why, tried to make something out of Xenosaga, which was a future world of that. And it's like, why would you do that? So
It's a multi-dimensional thing, kind of.
it's hard to say. I don't know. Either way, let's talk about Eva here. We've gone on long enough about the weird world of mythos and robots and religion and psychological issues, which is, you think, is going to be fascinating to someone on some level, and I guess it does get your attention, but after a while your brain goes, wait a second, that's kind of stupid. So anyway, 19-minute video, here we go.
It's March 27th, 1996. Japan is about to witness the last episode of the anime television series Neon Genesis Evangelion, with an ending that would make many people question its existence in the first place. Not only in regards to episode 26, but also episode 25 that was released a week prior. These episodes were talked about so much regarding its approach, its ambiguity, and especially its lack of animation during certain parts, to the point where a number of fans felt frustrated by the fact that many questions were left unanswered. Some apparently even sent death threats to the creator of the show, Hideaki Anno, and graffitied Gainax's studio walls. It's been claimed that the controversy was massive during its original release, but there have also been reports where the controversy was nowhere near as big as it seemed to be, that many fans also sent letters showing their appreciation of these last 2 episodes. What is known is that a year later, Anno and the studio Gainax would release a film titled The End of Evangelion, which would retell the events of episodes 25 and 26 in a different manner. The reason why is still unsure, but my guess is Anno was definitely dissatisfied with something, either with the fans or with himself, or most likely, both. Whatever the truth actually is, there is no denying that the last 2 episodes did feel frustrating to a lot of fans, and The End of Evangelion is deemed by many as the definitive ending. But I'm not here to talk about the film, I'm here to talk about the original end of Evangelion, and why I think it's a masterpiece. I'm not going to talk about every aspect of the show and all of its underlying themes, but rather the aspect that caught my interest and how I believe to have culminated perfectly in the ending of the show. What my personal view, experience, and my own analysis of this show and its ending are. But first, we need to talk about plot as a whole. Generally, plot normally consists of a sequence of events that advances the story forward through cause and effect. Plot is considered to be crucial for a telling of a story to work and make the audience engaged. In other words, a narrative is constructed that forces our characters into a structure of events, and then we accompany them towards a resolution of some kind.
Okay, so he obviously doesn't know exactly what a plot is, and that's fine. He's just coming with the idea that this example is where a character or protagonist is passive and he's being pushed along a series of events. And that's a type of story. That's not a plot. That's just something passively happens to a character and we just happen to be paying attention. A plot is when a character has a desire or goal. And the active protagonist is someone who pursues that goal. The passive one is where the universe sort of pushes them into that manner, whether it's like negative reinforcement, like your village burns down and you have to run away and get revenge, or the villain is doing this to you, or whatever. There's all kinds of plots in this nature. So he's telling, he's getting a general idea. It's not to my taste, but he's not wrong, let's just say.
So, knowing this, what is Evangelion's plot and how does it eventually lead to its last episode? The plot consists of a teenage boy called Shinji who was recruited by his father to work for the organization NERV and pilot a giant mecha called Evangelion, more specifically Eva 1. This is done to fight against an alien species called the Angels, known to have caused a global cataclysm which happened 15 years prior, called the Second Impact. In other words, a third impact is imminent and Shinji is told that he is the only one who can save the world. But by the end of the show, you don't really have that resolution. In the simplest terms, you have Shinji questioning himself constantly and all of the other characters continuously speak to Shinji for him to figure things out. Which means that the last 2 episodes don't really have any sort of plot resolution. But as I mentioned before, I believe this to be a masterpiece. Why? Well, let's talk about character arc. Witnessing a character through means of a story and its plot normally equals to his or her growth.
So the ending's a masterpiece.
The entire plot thing has been thrown out the window.
Yeah.
Because
You always pause on the eye burning frames.
Oh, sorry. Let me return to. There you go. Blackness.
More stars.
More stars.
Just one.
So, guys, he just said that plot is not important in the last 2 episodes. Even though he thinks it's a masterpiece, after he's just described what a plot is, now he's going to describe characters, which is part of a story, but that's not why you. I mean, that's not you need a character needs a plot, so you can't disconnect the two. You can like a character for the personality and what they do, how they act. It's entertaining, but that's not a story. That's just a character. There's a slice of life. Some guy painting in a room, and then the end. Oh, what a great story. He's a funny guy. Yeah. Insightful, funny, cute, clever, witty. Yeah. That's not writing. That's just, describing your day. A plot is relevant because it gives you a goal. It gives the child goes down to the corner store to buy a bag of milk and a stick of butter. And that's a plot. It could be very exciting, could be very mundane, but at least he has a goal in mind. And he could trip and fall. He could lose the bag of milk. He could get beat up by a bunch of bullies. His money stolen. He doesn't know what to do. All kinds of great things could happen along that journey. So if you don't have a goal, if you don't have a journey, it doesn't have to be a journey to the end of Middle Earth. It could just be to the corner store. If you don't have that, you don't have a character worth describing. You just have a guy in a room, and he's interesting because the way he thinks or the way he paints or the way he does stuff. And that's all. It's just another form of titillation, like looking at a pretty girl. It's like, that's a pretty girl. You're right. She's tall. She's blonde. She's gorgeous. You're right. What does she want? What does she do? What's her goals? What does she feel? What does she think? So you need more than just a pretty face. That's what I'm saying.
In its plot normally equals to his or her growth. The plot constructs the sequence of events so that the character can go from point A to...
We'll say at least he's using Luke and not Ray for this.
Yeah. So a sequence of events is just a story. What he's trying to, what I would like to him to say rather is a series of motivations and then enacting of those motivations by, choosing to go to space with Luke's, he's lost his family, he's going to fight the Empire, etc., etc. So we know why Luke is here. We have a good idea what he's trying to do without him literally telling the audience, I'm going to go fight the Empire. He just lost his family. Everyone knows, oh, he must be feeling horrible right now. So what's he going to do next? He's going to probably get revenge. Going to figure out what to do with his life. Going to go with Ben because Ben's the next best thing he's got. And
funny is before at the start of the movie, Luke is about to go join the Imperial Flight Academy.
Yeah, that was one of his dreams.
He was going to join the Empire.
Yeah, just because he wanted to fly or something like that.
And him and his friends, they wanted to get off Tatooine.
Yeah,
they were all good pilots.
There were cut scenes or scenes that were cut out of the movie that brought more exposition to tell us what was going on with Luke and his friends. So
it was it was with Biggs and Wedge. They were his friends on Tatooine, and they had already left.
Right, and there was that other guy. I can't remember his name. It was a long scene from these never before released footage when you buy the DVD. So yeah, it's cool. But it was good to take it out because these are these long ass scenes that they're just sitting around and talking. So
yeah, the original movies had a good editor.
Yeah, for sure.
They weren't afraid to tell Lucas no.
So plot. I think he means plot points, but this is not what a plot is. He's just describing a story going through scenarios. It's not a plot. But he's not wrong. He's just missing the mark. He's in the ballpark is what I'm trying to say.
Point B. Plots and character arcs normally work together as one, and many people, especially...
They don't normally work. They can only work together. You can't just have a guy who sits in a room and has a revelation. It's not a story. It's not a plot. It's just stuff happens. Like, oh, well, he could have stubbed his toe, and then that's the end. He has to come to some sort of choice to be made. And that's how you have a character arc. The character has to make a choice that he's forced to do. He chooses to make the one or two options or three, and he grows as a result, whether he accepts a change in his character or a doubling down on his character. So that's the basics of it. There's two other options, but those are more complex. And it's if you're going to tell a story with giant robots and religious symbolism and psychological trauma, you want to really keep it simple. That's enough for us to digest.
regards to American cinema tells us this should always be the case. But the reality is that all of this comes down to the perception of the audience and what each want from a movie. And what I connect with the most when watching any sort of medium is character, especially in how that character is portrayed through the use of imagery and enhanced by the use of sound and music.
Okay, that's not wrong. Again, he's in the ballpark. He's
just like describing like how character is in general in media.
Yeah.
Like enhanced by sound and all
yeah.
the time, pretty much.
Characters in movies are enhanced by sound and visuals. Everything in a movie is enhanced by sound and visuals. What he's trying to say, I hope, is characterization, and we realize that through observing him go through conflict, or him or her, and they do or do not get what they want, or they struggle to get what they want, and then we see how they deal with it that brings out their character. So again, he's not wrong. It's just so generic and like, yeah, it's not right, but it's not wrong either. So
how all of these come into one to express something that holds dear to the person who created it, where we truly understand his or her psyche through the portrayal of its main character. And this is shown in the last 2 episodes of Evangelion, a form of expression that I believe to be rooted in Japanese filmmaking.
Okay, so just because you have an exposition on the psyche doesn't mean you have good storytelling. That's weird. That's just anything. You could have exposition on a chocolate cake, like whoop-de-doo. Is that a good show or a good story? No.
Is he also like making an example that like because it has its roots in Japanese cinema, it's better than anything else? Why would we celebrate anything just for the sake that it exists for that?
You could argue some black and white Japanese samurai films or Western films are very, in comparison to Western cinema or Western genre in America, are much more slow. They're much subdued.
Yeah.
They take longer. There's more time between events. There's less talking, or when there is talking, there's a lot of silence. And then you have a fight scene, or then you have another conversation. There's lots of longer shots, as we see in Hong Kong cinema. So I guess there's definitely those shots in Evangelion where Shinji's just sitting there on the train or at the train station and nothing happens for 15 seconds. You're like, what the fuck? Hello, story, go give me something.
Yeah, it seems it's more likely that those shots were there just to pad out the runtime and to save money. Not because they were harking back to some ye old Japanese cinema.
In certain cases, I would agree in Evangelion, but in certain cases, I would disagree because there are scenes where.
Oh yeah, right. No, but I'm saying like there's just those scenes that just come out of nowhere that just.
Oh god, yeah, the elevator scene.
No explicable reasons. Like that.
The famous.
I think it's in part it's to draw you into Shinji's melancholy and depression.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Anno does this in other works as well, where he doesn't have the constraints that he had with Evangelion.
Right. I remember
it is either it's grown on him in Evangelion out of necessity, or it is really just one of these weird knacks of his artistic side.
Yeah, I don't remember
Shin Godzilla, which was written by Anno.
Right.
Doesn't have a lot of the issues that Eva have, where it just like hangs for no explicable reason. Like it keeps moving at a decent pace the entire movie.
Right.
I tell you, if it was a TV show, it would.
Oh, probably, yeah.
It would be.
What is Godzilla thinking right now?
It's too avant-garde, I think, to be a typical TV show in the prime time of the 90s. 90s had a lot of crazy shows that followed a formula. So I'm not saying I don't like breaks in that formula or a formula. But those times where nothing happens, some of them make sense, and some of them are just like, okay, we don't need an elevator scene where there's nothing happening. It doesn't showcase the characters. Nothing is really. I think Rey is blinking, or Asuka was leaning against the.
Asuka like fidgets and whatnot, and Rey doesn't move at all. She blinks maybe once.
Yeah, it's just like, why?
It's a full 30 seconds of Asuka just fidgeting like every other second, or like two, and it's probably just Asuka animated on top of a still of Rey. That's probably what they did, just to pad out timing there.
Yeah. I do remember seeing, I can't remember if it was in front of a destroyed building or was it in front of some sort of highway. Was it the first episode or was it a train station where Misako is going to pick up Shinji?
It's the first episode.
It's the first.
And he's just standing there. Nothing's happening for 15 seconds or so. Just like, okay.
Yeah, well, I guess like it was a foreshadowing because like Shinji happens to see someone at the highway, and it looks like Rei, but then looks again, and then there's no one there. So maybe it's like a foreshadowing for what the rebuilds have confirmed, that there's like multiple universes and timelines as well, and it's just looking back at Shinji for this like instance. But I really don't know.
I think with the original, before the rebuilds happened, it was more just to set the scene so that way when the giant robot starts,
Yes,
it's a massive contrast, because him just sitting at the train station, it just looks like a normal town. Like nothing looks weird about that. Like it's that I can say it's probably a scene setting as opposed to padding.
I always thought like when he's like sitting at the train station, like I guess like you mean the scene when he quits Nerve and he just wants to fuck off nowhere else, and he's just like waiting for time to pass pretty much.
Yeah,
because like he doesn't like know like what to do next.
Like,
there's like a lot of those.
Yeah, he doesn't want to leave Neo Tokyo, but he also wants to, so he's just sitting on a train and just looping the train for 7 hours.
And the great thing about that
one,
is they do have some long scenes, but they have this really cool trick where they look at his whatever music player, and even his music player loops. And it's like, oh, a sense of time. I don't need to see that for 30 seconds straight, or 40, whatever long it is. It's just give me a clip.
Right, but like it cuts between him like changing position, sitting in the train car, to his MP3, to his cassette player, and then back to him, and you can tell that the scene behind him changes as well as the time of day has changed.
Right.
So it's not just like sitting there for 30 seconds watching him just ride a train. It's actually jumping time.
Right. It's
still not padding. It's showing the passage of time, which is different than the elevator scene.
Yeah, I think that was episode 14 or around there. It's hard to remember exactly because there are some good episodes. There are some fun episodes. There are some sad ones. They're not dumb. It's just they didn't know what to do with all this stuff, and they couldn't afford it.
The episode with the giant diamond where they have to snipe at it from a distance.
Yeah, that was great.
Watching them figure out that whole episode, just watching them logistically figure this out, how to deal with that thing, is a great episode. And
Shinji training and how to fight. Very basic thing, just pull the trigger, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it properly.
Yeah.
Same with the dancing one. I thought that was my favorite with the music. I thought that was very crazy.
What's the one that with the angel that gets into the computer system? The what's it called?
The virus.
Yeah, the virus one that gets into their computer system. That's a good. There's a lot of slow scenes.
Right.
That's a good. Just with like what's her name fixing the computer. Sitting there watching her fix that. There's some
the blonde woman.
There.
Yeah, the blonde.
Yeah, I can't.
Doctor.
Yeah, the doctor.
Ritsuko.
No, that's
Ritsuko.
Yeah.
See,
yeah,
it's a good show, and then you have to stop watching it.
It has lots of good moments. It's just that ending.
And then someone wrote the conclusion.
Yeah, or tried to.
It was a piece of shit.
It ruined everything. Yeah, exactly. So
it's one of the OG. Their ending ruined it.
Yeah, if you just did not make the last 2 episodes, I think we'd be like, oh, I wish they continued Evangelion. I would have loved to have seen what happened.
You mean right after Shinji crushes Kaworu, and then like the show just ends.
The show just ends. They just ran.
That would be such a good ending for that.
Yeah.
I'd be.
The angels died.
Everyone would be on the edge of their seats for decades.
That's a better like and it like what if leaving point than what they tried to do with the last 2 episodes. Like a whole like that would have been just a better like what than what we got.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But what I had like beef with like those 2 episodes is that like in the background you have like this setup that Zera is actually like a really evil organization. Like Nerve is nothing compared to that, and they have been like playing like so many things. Like they have been like firsthand, like they were the ones who sent Kaworu in the first place. So if they have done something like that they wouldn't like leave Nerve to like have the ultimate Evangelion in their possession, and they like it makes so much sense to have like the beginning of End of Evangelion, because I believe like the first half of End of Ever is like an actually good movie, and then they just like cheese it again as usual, because it just doesn't make any sense that they don't have any conclusion to the rivalry that they have. Because once they don't have the angels anymore as the primary enemy, they must turn on each other because they want like power over each other. Like Gendo has his plan to like merge with Lilith, and then there's the plan that they want to set off the third impact.
Right.
It just doesn't really make sense that they just like concluded that like Shinji is not feeling good. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So anyway, like what about those psychopaths who have been like the shadow government all this time?
Just happy to turn to goo.
It's kind of like you play like Deus Ex, the original, and then you just like end at the train station that you just met with the Illuminati, and then like, oh, they are here. Okay, that's cool.
Well,
oh my God, JC, a bomb!
Like, it's funny because when I said earlier, like, watch like the first half of Ava and then go watch Trigger's show, because if Eva was made today by the Gainax employees that made Trigger, that would have happened. Like, Sarah would have been like the real true villain behind, and Nerve was just pretending to be, or Gendo was just pretending to be an ass the entire time. Like, that, you know, that it would do that, and that it would make more sense.
You see, they can reboot. I could totally get behind this. Doing a reboot, new characters, new story, new setting, whatever, of Evangelion. They could totally do that. And people would be like, yep.
Well, that's fully cool.
Well, that's what I say in my soul, even though I know it's not the truth. I'd rather watch Fooly Cooly because it's so fun. It's such a great
I mean, like, Anno is acting in that
Evangelion
anime.
with energy.
He's the cat.
Yeah. Guys, honestly, if you're going to get anything out of watching our stream, go watch FLCL. It's a fun show. It's only, what, 12 episodes long? I can't remember.
6.
6? Oh,
6 episodes.
Wow.
6. Yes.
It's amazing. For 6 episodes, you get way more out of it. It's so much. It's so cool. The music.
And I
is
don't
fun.
say this too many times, but even the English dub is okay.
Ooh.
Yes, it's actually one of the best. It's actually one of the best dubs out there, because that's before Funimation went current Funimation.
But there's like, I believe like there's 2 English dubs for it. Like there's a shitty one, and then there's the original one.
Yeah,
you should go with the original.
Anyway, let's get.
It's like
The one goes
the
furi
original-
kuri furi kura.
Yes, the original Fooly Cooly dub, the Full Metal Alchemist dub, both of them are very, very good.
Bebop.
Bebop, yeah.
Bebop had a pretty good one, yeah.
Yeah, the Soul Eater dub actually wasn't bad.
I like
It's actually pretty, all the voices matched.
Yeah,
pretty
I like the
well.
old stuff like Macross Plus.
Which
They had good dubs.
Sorry.
Anyway,
Wrong
we
button.
should get back to the video. If he's comparing,
We're talking about too many positive things.
yeah, I know Japanese cinema is similar to Evangelion. I don't know, something like that. Let's keep going.
which differs from the approach that usually happens in American cinema. American cinema has the intent of having the story...
I really don't like the way this guy is talking. He's like, American cinema is the way that we do X, and Japanese cinema is the way that we do Y. It's like, not really. That's kind of a very gross...
It's like a very stupid statement as well, because like they have been inspiring each other for like a good time now. Like if you have those Kurosawa movies, they have been inspired by what happens in the West, and like same goes for the animation too. They just wanted to like first like get to be as good as what the Americans have been doing, and then they have created their own things, and they weren't like direct like copies of each other. It was just like inspiring each other, and it was such a good like. I wouldn't say like parasitic, whatever. It's just this is nothing like that.
Be the foundation of everything. In other words, you need to have a solid script, solid plot, solid character arc in order to have what is considered to be a solid film. American films, when they do this well, it is utterly incredible. Movies like Once Upon a Time in the West and The Hustler are great examples of this, because American cinema normally has characters with well-established identities. They either know who they are or what they want to be, and many times falls in the category of who is the good guy and who is the bad guy.
Not necessarily. There's lots of great American cinema out there, like HUD, which is also a very old black and white film, which is pretty much slice of life. It doesn't really have much of a plot, but there is sort of a conflict and issue. And it goes about the story of a guy who's the son of a farmer, and he's kind of a guy who doesn't care. He doesn't go around, he's not very responsible, and he gets to lots of fights. So it depends. There's lots of, like, all of these characters that we remember from cinema aren't all good guy versus bad guy, and Star Wars is the best thing ever. It's like, no, there's all kinds of great stories out there. Goodfellas, The Godfather, these very famous mafia films, those aren't good guys. Maybe, relatively speaking, to the other guys in the story, but they're all bad people. So no, it's not... Maybe he's talking about Westerns, but even then, it's good, the bad, and the ugly. I wouldn't say everyone's bad or good. They're sort of in between. They're all opportunists. So... Unless you give specific examples, I want to know. Because good stories are never just the hero versus the bad guy.
This isn't always the case, because you have films like Taxi Driver and Apocalypse Now who raise that question, especially considering the time it was made. But normally, American cinema makes it quite distinct who is on each side. Japanese cinema doesn't quite portray this. The search for one's identity is approached from a very different angle. Initially, both sides of the spectrum seem to be quite clear, but as the story goes along, characters start to show more of who they are underneath. How their perceived identities can be misleading, like it happens with the Seven Samurai. What is good and bad, black and white, starts to become grey. This can be found in...
That's a character arc. That's the... Oh, jeez.
Like you have like some other movies like Yojimbo or Harakiri.
Yeah,
I think like those have like a very clear like who is villainous.
Yeah, exactly.
Who is the hero?
A lot of Japanese cinema, the reason why they have the whole identity thing is because of how rigid Japanese culture is.
Yeah, well, yeah. In general, like they have like a way different view on like life itself than what the Westerners do. They have like this belief that like any sin can be forgiven if someone is committed enough. I think like if you say this to like a European person, then they would be like, no. But yeah,
but like culture-wise, it's like you're in the reason why so many like especially anime have like so many like kids like or like teenagers rebelling or doing whatever, like just completely like rebelling and doing their own thing from whatever the adults are doing, is because that's the culture there is a very rigid culture.
Yeah, the example of the Seven Samurai I think he's referring to is Kikuchiyo, who's the guy who's like, oh, I'm big and strong and I'm a samurai, but he was never a samurai. And through the course of the story, he learns to defend and fight for the villagers. So that's a typical, not necessarily coming of age, but typical arc for a character. He says,
he's not a samurai by birth. He's a samurai by what he does.
Well, yeah, he's rowdy and drunk and all this other crazy stuff, but he's willing to be a hero, and he has to.
He's a samurai by his good actions of defending and helping.
Right, but he's not your typical good guy. He's he's like a roguish fellow, but he's just a big, strong dude. So he learns to be a fighter, and he practices, and he ends up sacrificing himself. So there's it's nothing unheard of in the hero storytelling genre. It's not that gray. It's not that black and it's just like he's a character. It's fine. It's not hard. Anyway.
So many Japanese movies, with the most well-known being Akira Kurosawa's films. So if this is prevalent in Japanese cinema, this is also going to translate into similar forms of medium, which can easily be found in the world of anime. Anime is all about taking these ideas and developing them as much as possible.
I really, it's just animation, dude. You can tell any story with any format. That's it. They're inspired by.
I have never seen any animated movie besides the Disney ones.
Oh,
the video I say.
I don't know where he's going, but it's like, okay, fine. He's not wrong. He's just like, why are you going this direction?
That almost every character, whether good or bad, eventually develops them in a way that makes them human, and almost all anime is like this. Even shonen anime, you still have both protagonists and antagonists who really struggle to find their identity. That saving the world isn't the main goal, but an excuse to show the flaws in human nature of these characters and the tormenting path they go through. That we can be like them. How these works of art have an impact that lasts longer than just the duration of a movie or an episode. How the struggle with finding their identity also comes with the struggle of their own failure. This I believe to be in part caused by the aftermath of the Second World War.
Why? What?
Okay, no.
How?
No.
Guys.
It's just because of the bomb.
Let's nuke France, and then 10 years later, they're going to make really good animation. Like that's how nuclear bombs work. Okay.
So you mean if we have dropped like more bombs on them, like a nuclear one by then, and they would have come out with the asterisk and obelisk.
He's confusing anime with Godzilla.
I don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. How do you translate?
The product of the nuclear bombs was Godzilla movies.
I mean, maybe we should have dropped some bombs in Germany, and we've gotten two amazing media companies or countries making, German animation and Japanese animation. We'd have this.
You've just given us the American Constitution. What we should nuclear bomb is Hollywood. Then they will make good ones.
Let's bomb Hollywood.
We bomb Hollywood, and world peace will come to us.
They'll just make all these amazing Pixar films with amazing technology, and it's all going to be peace and hugs, and everyone will know and understand capitalism and how to get along and save money and be nice to your neighbors. And oh boy, just drop a bomb on us, guys. We'll be great. Oh God!
I never thought I would watch an Evangelion video essay, and he's gonna have a point that because of the bombs, like we have this great media. Okay.
Yeah, this is like the argument in Babylon 5 where it's like the shadows are like, yeah, what happens when you knock over the ant farm? It gets stronger and better and bigger, and you're like, okay, all right, yeah, conflict breeds strength. You're right, but maybe not nuclear conflict. That's a bit different.
Oh, crazy in the chat. Anime is proof that 2 nukes just wasn't enough.
We get creative when we get nuked, guys. All that radiation goes to our brain. All right.
People suffered and lost their lives. How the idea...
So, people suffered then lost their lives, and the rest around them?
What happened in the Second World War? Like any wars by that map right now? Like a lot of people died.
By his logic, anime should have started back during the Warring States period of Japan, because there was a lot of death going on during that point in time. Like
I'm
a
trying
lot.
I'm trying really hard to grasp this concept of media creativity as a result of bombing a village and town in Japan. It's just the weirdest. Oh boy. Just give me a moment. Let me think about this.
So what about the Middle East then? God damn it! Like, how many bombs have they dropped on that thing? Where's my animation? In
No,
this?
no, no,
They
no.
haven't dropped nuclear bombs.
They weren't
That's-
nuclear.
Yeah,
Zach,
yeah,
see?
yeah.
See?
Okay.
If it's not nukes, no one goes to Pixar. No one makes the next Disney.
I won my 1001 Arabian Nights anime.
Yeah, if we don't get My Neighbor Totoro the next time we drop a bomb, I'm going to get pissed off. God.
Make it happen, Joe Biden.
Joe, go for it.
Were ultimately shaken to its core. How that must have impacted them so much for so many years, prevalent even to this day. And this can be found in so many anime, which many times deals with an enormous explosion caused by mankind or nature itself, and how it affects everyone in such a negative way, and how that can be a representation of the character's failure, making them question their beliefs on who they are in the first place.
Okay, so he's arguing that anime, not just anime, manga, because it has, I don't know, pre or post-apocalyptic scenarios, because they were nuked, therefore there's lots of them, but that's like, one genre or two genres out of 30 or 50 others. I don't know, dude. That's a stretch. Media in general in Japan is so vast. They tell so many stories for every audience. And some of those involve big bombs and big robots and end of the world scenarios. So nowadays it's all video games and isekai and all kinds of other fantasy elements. So where's all the post-apocalyptic stories? And to be honest, there aren't that good. There's a lot of, actually, no, there's not a lot of Western or post-apocalyptic stories that I can think about that I enjoy, that I point to and say that's good, or is like Peter K. Dick or Philip K. Dick's rather, The Man in High Castle comes to mind. We have Margaret Atwood's version of that. There's only a few I've actually read, because the rest aren't worth reading or they're not that interesting. So
Mad Max?
Or
post-apocalyptic?
That's not about the whole concept of the post-apocalyptic world. That's like post. It's like well after the fact, and just a bunch of people surviving in this wilderness.
Okay, so you're mean like immediate, like Grave of the Fireflies, like immediate aftermath.
I mean, like, well, even futuristic ones where, let's say, we have this renaissance of technology after a nuclear bomb.
Okay.
The Scythe Trilogy comes to mind. What's the one with that was made into a movie about a bunch of people hunting for food in a game? The girl was with a bow and arrow. What the hell is that called?
Oh, Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. Yeah. See, that's another example. That's post-apocalyptic scarcity, going back to some tribal mentality, stuff like that. There are some stories specific by certain authors in satirical elements, like Galapagos by Vonnegut, but it's not a very big genre. I can't think of too many that you would think there'd be a whole bunch. And what Japan has, what's the one? They have a bunch. I know Japan has a bunch, but they have a bunch of everything else as well. So you cannot, I'm sorry, you cannot just say because they were bombed, therefore they're telling a lot of post-apocalyptic stories. That doesn't make too much sense to me.
And most of the post-apocalyptic stuff I've seen from Japan, very few use nukes.
Yeah.
It's usually like an earthquake or a meteor or something. It's not nuclear devices that do it.
Yeah, I like the Godzilla understanding, because that's a reference. Same with King Kong, like that sort of idea. That makes a bit more sense, that was inspired by war or nuclear Armageddon or this or that. But
like very few use like nuke, have a like the nuclear war is a reason for the post-apocalypse in most anime. They generally stay away from that.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we could just point to all the rom-coms for young adults in Japan, like another high school romance comedy. Like, just there's so many. Does that mean there was this crazy other explosion on trains that caused, like, we have to equate this to explosions, I guess. I don't know, maybe trains collided and that caused an influx of writers to talk about love and justice and family. I don't know. Anyway.
This leads us back to Neon Genesis Evangelion.
We're nearly 8 minutes into the video, and we're finally getting to his point.
Yeah.
By the way.
Because of nuclear bombs.
In the story take place 15 years following the aftermath of the second impact, which almost destroyed the human race. Currently trying to prevent a third one due to the enormous consequences of the previous impact. And our main character Shinji is forced by everyone to be the savior. But he is a character who struggles immensely with the notion of failure. A character who doesn't have a clear distinction of what is right and wrong. A character who is suffering a great deal and has no grasp of who he is. And that is what Neon Genesis Evangelion for me is all about. It's about how the creator of the show, Hideaki Anno, is able to convey all of this into one story, but most of all into one character. It's not just about Shinji, it's about Anno expressing himself through Shinji.
Okay, this is
That's a pause screen there.
Yeah, guys, when you write a story, yes, you're writing your ideas out onto the page. You are expressing yourself through your ego and your thoughts and feelings and experiences. Yes, that's all writing is. It's right. But to say that in some sort of highbrow manner is like, yes, water is wet. Thank you. That's great. What's your point?
It's known that Anno suffered through immense depression throughout the making of this series. To say he wasn't in a good place is an understatement.
So what?
And even though it's been said that he didn't have a clear path of where the story was headed, especially in regards to the limitations and troubled scheduling towards the end of the show, what is clear, he never lost sight of what was important to him to tell in this story. And that was Shinji and his progression as a character, which seems to be Anno trying to find some sort of catharsis through Shinji and his development.
That's fine, but so what? I mean, writers go through a journey of their own as they write. This is fine. What's your point?
It shouldn't influence like how good is the series at all.
He hadn't managed
but
to...
his argument here has no basis because Shinji doesn't grow. I know he thinks he does.
Neither does Anno, so...
Oh, yeah,
that's
no.
the point. That is why Shinji couldn't grow.
Right.
Because Anno hadn't made his development.
Right.
He didn't know where to go with Shinji because he still didn't know his own life.
You could argue...
If he had known the answer for Shinji, he would have known the answer for himself.
You could argue every time he runs away is a form of avoiding growth, and that's...
No, it's avoiding writing.
It's avoiding...
Like every time, like he was like writing, like, oh, this is gonna be a good conclusion. Okay, no, I'm gonna run away.
Yeah, that's his
the
solution.
secret Joe Star technique.
Yeah, just run from every conflict. It's like, oh, we're gonna win. Nope. Oh boy.
I'm gonna run away until suddenly I realize, oh, that's a piece of shit thing to do. So I'm actually going to go and do the correct thing and save humanity. And then 20 minutes later, boo-hoo-wee.
It's so hard.
Oh, like there was like a genuine like catharsis at like in the middle of the series where Shinji is forced to like destroy another Evangelion unit that was coming from the US, I believe. That was like the story, and then at the end of the episode, it turns out that Toji was the pilot, but like it got infected by one of the angels, and Gendo like showed his true colors, that they had like a dummy plug in Shinji's Evangelion that it could take control over, and it just decided to like just strangle the thing and just like destroy it entirely. So Shinji had like doubts, like, is this like really what I'm doing right now? Like if like they can take control in time, then like why am I doing this at all?
Yeah.
Like that was like a good episode
it's-
as well. Afterwards, they just lose control because like essentially, the Evangelion had like the Angel's engine inside of it, so it doesn't need charging anymore. So it means that it's unstoppable. That's kind of like why the time limit was in initially.
Right. I mean, I was fine with Gendo showing what is necessary to be done.
Oh yeah.
To like, and so like Gendo, until he does the whole bizarre thing where he tries to form with Eden or Eve so he can get his dead wife back. Anyway, him being ruthless against the angels makes perfect sense. Like they need to be, so humanity doesn't die out. And so Shinji sitting there being like upset at his father for what he did. It's like paint Shinji as like the morally correct one there.
Yeah. Plus, they reveal what
When
the
he's-
actual project of the dummy plug thing is. And it's a bunch of rays in a vat. And you're like, oh, so if they run out of rays, they'll just because they need pilots. But
Yeah.
but
And
then
like it has a good setup. The problem is it falls flat because Shinji tries to act like he's the one who's right when he's not, because he's like looking at it then and now, as opposed to if they didn't stop that thing, it would have killed everyone. Is the problem there?
right.
And his friend knew what he was getting, to an extent, knew what he was getting into to be a pilot. Like everyone who lives in Neo Tokyo knows the dangers of being a pilot. So it's just another one of those like Shinji almost grows and then doesn't.
Yeah, it just doesn't go anywhere. That's my biggest issue with the conclusion of those events.
All right. We're gonna bring someone in. Hopefully, they're available. And apparently, they actually like the original endings. Let's see what he has to say if he's around. And if not, that's okay. Anyway, let's keep going.
In very simple terms, Shinji is someone who doesn't want to deal with the society he lives in. Early on in the story, he tries running away from it, but that also makes him feel like he let down the people who expect more of him. And Shinji is constantly going through this loop of uncertainty. He tries to do things to make other people like him more, but he also doesn't want to have the responsibility of doing those things. He feels like he never has a choice and he is always forced to do what other people expect him to do. But then, when he doesn't do any of it, he feels alone and feels like he failed. He has difficulty in dealing with the lack of connection he has with his father, Gendo, and how his hardship has affected him. He has difficulty in finding someone who has cared for him the same way his mother had when he was a young boy, and finds that comfort in other female characters, especially Rei. But also how his personality contrasts heavily with Asuka, but in reality she is just as fragile as he is. And thus at times they share a mutual connection which can be attributed to love.
Well, they're both teenage. They're both, 14, 15 years old? The pilots?
14. All of them are 14.
Yeah, so it makes it, and also for the Avas to work, they have to have some mental issue. Like they also have, and they have to have lost family members.
I believe like what they were establishing it is that like you have to have like a family connection to that thing. That's kind of like why Asuka drive Eva Unit 2, because that's her mom pretty much.
Yeah, and all the Avas are female too. None of them are male.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
As Shinji's is a male.
Like I don't know like
female,
what
it's
Rei's
Shinji's is his
Evangelion
mother.
is.
Yeah, I think Rei is.
It's another Rei.
It's either another Rei or it's another part of the mother of Shinji's mother, because Rei is also
Which
a
would
piece
be
of
the same
Shinji's
thing.
mother.
Yeah,
If it was
why-
Shinji's mother,
that's-
they would have made like more fuss about it. I think like Shinji's mother is only like Eva 1, because that's like the prototype.
maybe.
they talk about the synchronization
know that-
rates in one
Yeah.
episode where eventually Asuka is falling behind, and that's where she has this inferiority complex. So they get into these characters rather well, and that's fine. It's just in the most bizarre way to with psychobabble and technobabble to wrap our heads around it. Anyway.
Because isn't it's implied, because it's never directly said, that Rei is a clone of Shinji's mother, which is why he's so drawn to her. Because he reminds her so much of his mother.
I don't know.
It's pretty obvious.
It is obvious. And
Yeah, because then when you actually see Shinji's mother, it's just Rei with different colored hair.
it's even explained in the show.
Yeah.
But yes, like it's just Shinji's mom with the soul of Lilith.
Yeah.
All right.
Misato, even though she is the person who is taking care of him, is only really able to communicate honestly through a sexual connection. And how Kaoru is the only man that Shinji had a strong trust and emotional connection with, regardless of how brief or manipulative it was. All of these characters are here to show Shinji's enormous insecurities as a man, the lack of a mother figure, the lack of a romantic connection, the lack of a sexual connection, the lack...
What?
What sexual connection?
He's 14. What the hell? What's going on here? And what do you mean by romantic and sexual? Aren't those the same idea? I just have romantic.
No. Shinji
Depends
just
on
wants
who
to
you
connect
talk
with
to.
someone. Like that. The show keeps like there's like an ongoing thing that like the show keeps like introducing these characters, and Kaworu is like the closest one because like he's like one of the few people that approach Shinji like, hey, what's up? Like, what's going on with you? Like, there's like so few characters that even try to do that.
Yeah.
Kaoru tries to be nice to Shinji.
Well, he
for a
actually
reason.
loves
For
Shinji.
manipulation, of course, but like,
Yeah.
He doesn't just bark orders at Shinji like everyone
but
else
he
does.
does reveal at the end, like he's willing to like get killed, pretty much.
Yeah. It's not like Asuka, who's just constantly berating or barking orders at him.
Rei is a doll, so she doesn't really know what to do.
Yeah. Gendo is Gendo. Everyone else just pretty much tells Shinji to do something, and of course he does it because
Yeah.
that's what he thinks will get them to like him.
There's not much to his character, honestly. He's just lonely, confused, doesn't know what he wants, gets pushed around, and doesn't like it.
It's frustrating because Shinji has like elements of character in him, but they don't do anything with it because they just let him be a beaten puppy the entire time.
Yeah. And he runs away. It's fine. He's a kid. Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that's fine, but the point, like the world that they're in and the story that they're telling, he needs to grow, and he doesn't.
Yeah, this is the problem.
So
Like, if
frustrating.
you are the chosen one, like literally the chosen one, and you have this weird duty to ride a death machine to stop other giant aliens from killing humanity, it's like, oh, yeah, this is bigger than myself. This is pretty big. I can't wrap my brain around it, but I know how to push the buttons and get the job done.
Right.
That should be enough for the average person. Like, okay, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I'm mowing the lawn with the life of humanity on the line. It's like, okay, I don't like mowing the lawn, but it's got to be done. Someone's got to do it, and I'm the only one who could use the lawnmower. It's like, all right, fine. I could cut myself. I could trip and fall. Yeah, it's possible, but we need you to do this, or everyone's going to die. Like, that should be the constant reminder. It's not too blatant, but it's like, Shinji, we need your help. Like, you got to do this, kid. And if not, this broken girl over here is going to get into this machine for you. And he goes, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's not good. I should probably help out. And that's all he has to work with. He doesn't want Rei to get hurt. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, it's like at least in the show they give a very good reason as to why only Shinji, Rei, and Asuka can be in the Evas. They at least have a good setup for that. It's not just like, oh, why does it have to be these three?
Right.
It can't just be anyone. I'll give them that. They have a very good setup for that. So it can only be these three kids
Until we
four
get
eventually
to the movies where there's the other girl.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But that's still adding one more is not that bizarre. Like they could find a fourth child. That's fine.
Yeah.
She's literally fan service. Like she even like admits that.
But my point being is they can still have 5 or 6 and have a very set number of people And that doesn't change the fact that Shinji knows that he's one of the few people that can do this and should be more like, okay, I need to do this because only I can't do this. Instead he's looking for someone else to do it.
This is like your parents telling you, by the way, you came from another planet and you have superpowers and only you could lead us into the light, Kal-El. It's like, oh shit, really? Only instead of having superpowers, you can pilot this thing that no one else can. That would be kind of awesome for certain kids. They'd be like, holy shit, yeah. I can get into this war machine that is bigger than buildings.
Which is shown why pretty much every other student in Shinji's class, when they learn that he's a pilot, they're all amazed at it.
It's super amazing. Like, this is crazy.
Like, they all want to be pilots.
Well, yeah, that's why his friend jumps at the chance to be the test pilot, because he wants to be a pilot. Yeah, and Shinji's like, I don't want
to. They all understand that. The pilots help protect Tokyo 3 and the rest of the world.
Yeah, and you see this mentality of his bizarre argument, and I think it was episode 25, where he's just like, well, I do it and it makes me feel useful, and therefore I feel better because I make other people feel alive and healthy, and I protect them, and blah blah blah. And you're like, yeah, we knew that. It doesn't have to be spelled out to us. We kind of get that basic understanding of, I have to sit at my computer and do my job and get the tasks done so my client pays me and I can make them happy, and they want more work, so they keep paying me more money so I can keep having a job. Oh, that's how making a living works. Like, okay.
Japanese cinema, expository dialogue.
Yeah, it's the salaryman process. How does this work? People want things. I do things for them. They pay me. They're happy. I'm happy. Whoop-de-doo.
Oh god, like this. This is like gonna be short, but like the latest Rebuild movie has like a scene where they explain that Kaji is dead, and Misato is retelling that like, I'm doing all of this because I promised him that I'm gonna do this. Yes, Misato, you have indeed promised Kaji that you're going to like save the world. And I was like, wow, like these actors have been doing the same thing for decades, and they have to validate themselves that yes, they do remember that they're doing it for him. Sometimes like the dialogue in Evangelion is like a fucking joke.
I didn't watch the English. I have heard some of the English, and I was like, that doesn't sound like the Japanese way of saying things. It's like, that's not the right annotation. There's something off. But stories at that point, the story's already lost. Okay, halfway done.
Of an emotional connection. These aren't always mutually exclusive to these characters, but all of this is to develop Shinji's character even more. Because Shinji wants any sort of connection, but is also extremely afraid of it and sees it as a negative thing, and why most of them, especially the female characters, always show up during his mental breakdown scenes, shown in episode 16, and then in episode 20, reaching the existential nature in its conclusion in episodes 25 and 26. Shinji's ultimate goal as a character is reached in these final episodes, where we leave the physical world and dive into the human instrumentality project, where everything and everyone become one. Deconstructing Rei Ayanami, Asuka Langley, Misato Katsuragi, but especially Shinji Ikari, with him figuring out each instance of his life, the world he lives in, who he perceives himself to be, what everyone perceives himself to be, who he really is. Because for
a giant puddle.
Fanta.
That point.
There is no characterization when everyone's a giant puddle.
Become Fanta.
Yes. The goal of every villain to make everyone equal, so there shall be no strife in the world. Well, yeah, if everyone's equal, but we're all one giant blob. Kind of defeats the purpose.
No, the purpose of making everyone equal is achieved.
Oh yeah. we have combined
no
with
world
the
anymore.
oceans. We're all this one giant amalgamated.
That's like a very stupid thing too. That end of ever, like pretty much like the villains win, but then Shinji gets the power that like, okay, guys, if you want to like go back to your physical form, then you can do it anytime. Okay, bye.
The thing is, they turn into that. Was it FCL or whatever the oxygen?
LCL.
LCL.
Like
Yeah.
FLC. FLCL is like a fucking pun for the LCL liquid.
It's like of all this.
It's amazing.
Like, yeah, we're gonna turn to this weird amniotic oxygen-rich fluid that somehow is kind of like watching. What is that? The Great Link on Deep Space Nine. All the shapeshifters are on this giant planet of liquid selves, and they all just intermingle and share thoughts telepathically. It's okay. Thanks, Japan.
So can we like expect Odo to show up in the end of Evangelion?
This big blob. Can't make a face.
Oh, they're more grayish goo. This is orange goo.
Oh. The orange jumpsuit even. Yeah.
For me, Evangelion was never about a boy getting inside the robots and defeating angels.
That's mostly what happens.
Yeah.
That's the base premise of the show. What are you talking about?
Shooting them with bigger lasers than they have.
Or what's that? Vibrating knives, whatever they're called.
Vibrating
The prog
giant
knife? The prog knife, yeah.
carpet cutters.
Yeah, that was funny. There's even I remember going to a con and there were people doing the pose where the retractable knife, it pops out of the shoulder part and it just sort of, I don't know.
Oh, I thought like they were doing the Gendo pose.
The Gento pose with the
Like, you know, like how he sits, like he has his hands in a way.
yeah, and then he just
It's
You
covering
never
his
said
face.
like that.
well,
Yeah.
not covering my face,
While walking.
and then adjusting my glasses every time.
They just have a table, like a tabletop strapped to them with rope, so they just have a table float, so they could just have their hands in front of them the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always face the sun, so you can have the lights on your glasses.
All right.
It wasn't about saving the world.
Oh.
Are you sure about that? What
Now
were
I
they
can see
doing?
why he thinks the ending is a masterpiece.
Yeah, what were they doing the entire time? Just for fun and shits and giggles? Let's just, kill some aliens.
Shinji, you need a job. I'm gonna give you one.
I'm your dad. I'm going to teach you hard love life lessons by killing giant creatures from space.
Evangelion is really just like Ikari Shinji getting his driver's license by his dad. The dad is the driving instructor.
In Japan, you have to go through a 2-year program of synchronization, military combat, dancing.
And your mom is the car.
Oh, fuck. And liquefaction.
That brings it. Okay, kids, go get in the car. Oh gosh,
Get in the car, Shinji.
Oh,
No.
we're going to McDonald's.
Oh, God.
You're grounded.
All right.
It was about Shinji overcoming his notion of failure and finding his own identity.
That's part of his arc. That's not what the story is.
Finding his identity. Okay.
Why are they obsessed with
Fails
identity?
at that.
Why is it such a complex? Like, yeah, they talk about the hedgehog's dilemma in a few episodes, and who is he? How can he be close to people? He's too scared. Yada yada. It's like, okay, yeah, Shinji, grow up, dude. Just fucking, get to know someone. It's not that hard. They live with you. Just talk to them, for God's sakes.
Yeah, yes, it's clear at the beginning of the series they wanted to do the whole identity thing. That fell out very quickly though, because they just couldn't figure out what they wanted to do.
Yeah, and they set it up. They had like all these episodes where they got angry at each other. They had to be friends. They had to get along to accommodate a mission. They had to work together. Shinji saved Rei one time. We saw moments of weakness from all the characters. One of the characters dies. One of them comes back to life. You're like, what the hell? All this stuff happens. Lots of scenarios. And Shinji's still Shinji. Okay.
And the culmination of this comes with the freedom scene. This is for me one of those moments that will forever stick with me because it's...
Yeah, it was so horrible. It was so dumb. It was so poorly animated and just meant this metaphorical nonsense. It's like, oh, I don't know what to do with endings. Let's make it metaphorical. Let's make it symbolic. Let's play some happy music and congratulate everyone for getting this far in the show. It's like, what? No. I want actual events to make sense. I don't want some mystical magical journey.
These whole two episodes feel like a parody dub.
It feels like they ran out of money. They didn't know what to do. It's like, oh, let's do something artsy-fartsy really quick, and it'll be cool and slick and cheap and kitschy, and everyone will feel good. And you're like, oh, let's not do that.
Quick round of money. Just throw up the storyboards and pull some words out of our butt for dialogue.
Yeah, get some fangirl to write the dialogue, and you're like, yeah, go for it. Make a story. That is the story. What? No.
Suddenly uses the art of animation as an actual form of expression.
So before we were watching episode 1,
flipping the same frame in
the art of animation wasn't being used to tell a story. Only till episode 25 did they achieve the usage of using the art of animation to tell a story. Okay. Holy hell.
Leading Shinji into a world of nothingness, a world of freedom. The freedom of not having to worry about anything or anyone.
That's terrifying. What are you talking about? That's not good. You're in a void. Oh boy, I'm so calm now. There's nothing to influence me. I have no stimulus. There's no sense of space, of time. How is that anything but terrifying? Everything I know and love is gone. I have no connection to anything else. I don't know where I am. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Smud, don't you know freedom? Don't you see? That's the most important thing. Like this is the person. This is like a Humanities 101 person who's like, to be truly free, you have nothing holding you down. It's like, okay, yes, we all took Humanities 101. Go sit in the corner. Like, seriously, like that's not what that means. Seriously.
So this is like the essence of United States.
We've achieved peak United States. We have no color in our body. We see no race. We see no creed. We're just completely
broken fingers.
Exactly. Everyone is colorblind.
Everyone is black and white. Yeah.
I mean, you could also go with see, he's white, so that means yes, freedom and white, according to some people.
Oh.
Because that's how they would take that.
An allegory for the Civil War.
Oh. All right.
No society, of not having to do anything at all, of being utterly alone, which in turn creates a feeling of insignificance to Shinji, and thus he creates an area, an existing dimension where he's able to stand on. This makes him feel grounded to a sense of reality, but removes an aspect of freedom.
Thank you for narrating the episode.
Had. And through this
they drew a goddamn line. Wow. Thanks.
And then the free frame walk.
And then they did a walk cycle. Wow. Thank you, Animations 101. That's amazing. Groundbreaking storytelling.
Essential moments is with Misato, Rei, Asuka.
They can't even properly color these scenes. Yeah, it's brilliant.
No, see, with all these scenes, I guarantee you are the storyboards from earlier parts of the in the show.
These aren't.
That's what they did.
They are. They are.
These are.
Which, done right, is a really cool way to use the storyboards. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do that. This application of it, though, is really, really terrible.
If you want to do a dreamscape there's reasons and ways to do that. And if they did this and then brought it back to reality, then you could say, oh, this was all in Shinji's head. It was a dream thing. He had to figure stuff out. Great.
Yeah, if you've ever seen that show, The Amazing World of Gumball, they do that where like the whole show like just degenerates into the storyboards and like as a gag, and then it immediately snaps back to normal. But like the whole show just completely devolves into storyboards, then like postage stamps, and then just to the actor standing there in the voice actor standing there in the recording booths.
Right. There's nothing wrong with doing these fourth wall-ish breaking scenarios or dreamscapes or acid trips or psychedelic, cross-dimensional weird stuff. That's great. I've seen that in science fiction all the time, even live action.
Yeah.
It's great. You still have to come back down to reality, and you still have to resolve the plot. You still have to have a denouement. You have to tie things up. You can't just stay there and like what was that scene in Solaris? If you guys watched the movie or read the book, he goes along with the alien beings and meshes with them, but we find out what happens after. We know that the ship keeps going on. So it's not just like I'm in this big weird dream world now. It's like no. They zoom out. They go, oh, there's the ship. Okay, great. So yeah, it was in his head, but it's also a real physical thing that happened. Oh, okay, my brain could wrap around that. So right now, in a dream, it's all just made up stuff. You can do whatever you want. It's like, okay, great. Does the hero need to reassess what he's doing? Does he need to figure stuff out to move forward? What's going on? But this is not this. This is the end. This is literally the goal, is to have this psychological revelation with no physical reality. Why couldn't Shinji have done this by himself? Why did he need to have all this other stuff happen? And then tell the story. It's like, hero has revelation. There's the climax. Boom, let's go. We have more problems to solve. We have other, characters to deal with and conflicts to overcome. But this is the end. Because they didn't plan it out. They didn't figure this out.
Kaoru, his father, and even his mother explain the perception of reality, he comes to the following conclusion: that for him to have a perception of himself, he needs a world and people around him to perceive him as a form of existence.
Wow.
And through their perception and his own, the similarities and differences he finds in the many forms of himself that exist through him and everyone else, he becomes who he is. Shinji. This is all shown with very little use of animation.
Yes, you are the sum of all your experiences. That's amazing. Thanks.
Yeah, Geo, you're echoing a bit.
Am I?
Is it me?
Yeah.
Weird.
Geo?
Sorry.
No, Geo is.
Okay.
That's weird.
I did
I
not
don't have
hear
any
it.
speakers.
I did not hear you at all, Geo.
That's bizarre.
I will
I
watch
have no
you.
speakers.
I will watch the
So
video play. Oh, sorry, we got a super chat. I got to read these things. I'm sorry. Black K Sun. Okay, cool. Watch Super Eye Patch Wolf on Eva. Explains a lot. I think I did many, many years ago. That was weird and cool. Anyway, 5 minutes. Here we go.
With a white screen, almost like a literal clean slate, and a very simple drawing
come
of
on.
Shinji, and creating that first sense of reality. The ground is simply the drawing of a line, to which he slowly starts to take the form of other shapes to explain more the perception that he has of himself. Once he realizes his conclusion,
You think all of those objects are Shinji's brain or mind? Okay, I mean, it's all a dreamscape. It could be anything. Sure.
No, this is like the last episode of Eva. He goes drinking.
Oh yeah.
Like he embraces the Misato lifestyle.
Are you sure it's not the animators going drinking? They just put random shapes together and objects and colored them.
Oh, if only.
All that Asahi beer we have cases of. We got to finish it by tomorrow. Oh, okay.
Asahi. Oh.
It's either that or Sapporo. I don't know. One of those two Japanese brands. Oh, boy.
the simple drawing of him becomes more defined, and we see a close-up of his face speaking about this realization, the realization of who he is. This is just filmmaking at its finest.
Of course.
This is filmmaking.
Are you... What? How...
This is at best avant-garde at whatever it wants to be.
I mean, for a first draft, it's pretty good.
Well, he said filmmaking, not necessarily animation. So I'm like, what are you talking? Wait, no, not filmmaking as a whole.
This is filmmaking on a shoestring budget.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, like I can't remember what happened. If it was just Ano going crazy, or if it was actually just because the budget just got that tight at that point.
Yeah, it's a combination.
The budget wasn't the problem. Like the production team was, like, producers were demanding it to be released as fast as possible, and they just couldn't like find people to animate because they had like a strike at the time. Like animators were just like didn't have it at the time, and they had like not like financial issues, but like the workforce was just like not having it. So
I can understand.
It was like a difficult time to do it.
Yeah, I can understand the same problem with Xenogears, where they ran out of time and money, and they had to slap stuff together to get the story going. But that's the thing. That's just exposition. It's Faye, and he's reminiscing of what's going on and then what happened. Like he's telling this story of events within 40 minutes or whatever. So, but it's all real. Like this stuff has happened. This is just some weird psychedelic trip, and it's dumb shit like empiricism. Like I need to be physical and I need to interact with stuff to stimulate me, and that causes me to interact with others and blah blah blah. You're like, yeah, okay. Reality, yeah, thank you. Okay, keep going. What's your point? This is some weird psychedelic nonsense, and I don't know why it's in here. It's almost unnecessary. When they get to the parts where he talks about the 3 girls in his life, or 3 women in his life, and how he feels for them, it's like, okay, there's something. All right, there's something about his psyche. He cares about them, and they care about him in some capacity in this idealized world. And all of a sudden, we get this weird rom-com 2-minute thing, and we're like, what the hell just happened? why are they going to school together, and Ray has a personality, and they're it's like it's this weird thing, and you're like, okay, this is too much. What's going on in this idealized reality? That at least that's something that I could wrap my brain around, but this is just avant-garde artsy fartsy stuff.
I mean, like I said, I actually do like this ending, but I understand why people don't like it. Like, it is really out there, but I don't even agree with this interpretation. Like, I see this as, this is just what the instrumentality is like.
Oh, so you're saying everyone is experiencing this weird, similar experience, but in this case, because we have a character to follow, it's Shinji, and that's just what he's going through.
Yeah, this is the instrumentality trying to like form that collective consciousness that it forms in the end of it, and that it forms in the movies.
Oh, okay, that's different than the show, though.
Yeah, I think that's what it's still attempting here, though. It's trying to get Shinji inside.
Okay, it's interpretive, so you can come to all kinds of conclusions. It's very hard to grasp what's going on. But
it's just like, because they technically retconned this ending, because if you watch the TV show, the last episode...
I haven't watched any of the rebuilds or anything.
Oh, not even End of Evangelion. Like, I mean, like the one from 97.
It's been maybe 5-10 years since I've watched it.
Oh, okay. Because like if you watch like the last episode, which is like 24, when Kaworu dies, after that, like the preview of the next episode is basically End of Evangelion, that you see like Asuka is fighting against like the Kaworu plug in the people, like Evas, like from Zele.
Yeah.
So it has like no mention of these 2 episodes from the original TV show.
Yeah, that would kind of have a continuity problem if they did. Everyone's a big blob.
From what I understand, it's actually, from what I recall, you're seeing, this is Shinji's point of view, what's going on during these 2 episodes after Kaoru dies.
Yeah, there was a theory
and then
around the web.
And then the movie is everyone else dealing with it.
But
And-
you see like Shinji's mind, like there's like half an hour segment about it.
Yeah.
Like you see like Shinji standing next to Misato while she's having sex, and then like the sandcastle scene,
Yeah.
and like all those other things, and then like him screaming really loud.
Yeah, it's very
Like he does that every episode.
Yeah, it's
anyway.
very well. Yeah, but it's very existential. Like, why am I here? Does this girl love me, and how and why? And then he just wants to eliminate everything in this weird sort of solipsistic way. And it's like, okay, so he's getting like hardcore nihilistic. And you're like, all right, fine. And I think that was episode 25. Episode 26 is a blur because it was just so weird. Anyway.
26 has the scene when they go to school. I remember that. And after that,
Yeah.
Shinji realized that like, oh, this can be my life. And then they say like, yeah, you should just accept it. But it just like ignore like all the things that just happened in the show. Like this world is horrible. Like who the fuck wants to live in it?
Yeah.
Every day you can die if an angel just decides to like crash onto your apartment.
Hey, Spud, you'll enjoy this. The Cowboy Bebop live action is canceled.
Season 2?
Yes.
Yes.
It's canceled. It's only one season.
It's cancelled by Netflix.
Yes.
That is the best news
Hooray!
you could possibly have on a stream about anime.
What reason did they give?
We should celebrate.
Champagne time, guys.
Hold on. Let me see here.
Nice rosé.
Let's see here.
Sorry, I'm so unenergetic, but I am very glad.
Yeah. Hurrah.
Uh,
I still haven't watched it, but I'm still wanting to make that video clip I want to make.
There is a god. Oh,
A god of anime has spoken. It says no. You are done.
goodbye, Space Cowboy.
Goodbye. You're
let's
not
see
going
here.
to carry that weight.
It garnered only 46% positive by critics. It doesn't say why they canceled it though. In this,
There's
thing.
no reason,
Space
no
Kid.
clarification is needed.
No.
We all know why.
it literally just why did they cancel it, and then it's just the transparent Will Smith PNG just at the entire show.
Well,
It's just,
yeah. John Cho is what it could be, 49 or 50. So yeah, I think we're done with Spike or Spike Cho, whatever he was called. One show I don't want to watch, but something in the back of my heart says no. You should probably check it out, and then I'll be very sad.
Yeah, by the way, Cowboy Bebop was made a year after Evangelion, and it has like amazing animation.
Yeah.
And it was a TV show, like a thing that just comes out like weekly. How did they pull it off then?
I mean, the
Sunrise.
funny thing is
what was the studio that did Cowboy Bebop? Was it Studio Bones?
Sunrise.
Sunrise. They probably just gave the animators time.
The story that I hear is that originally it was just to sell the ships as toys. But Watanabe was like, nah, I'm gonna make something good.
That was part of it. Yeah, that was part of the deal.
I mean, you could tell with how well designed all the mechanical stuff was in that show.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah, the designer of the ships was the guy who made the mechs in Macross.
Yeah, like you could tell, like you could tell there was some sort of toy or like gunpla deal in the works that just
Maybe.
never really went through.
Yeah, I do know that the other stories he made into animes, he used the same setting for Carol and Tuesday, which was that music anime, and Space Dandy, which is more of a comedic space romp. So he liked that universe so much. So good for him. When you flesh it out, when you flesh a world out, you want to be in there longer. It's kind of like Star Trek. It's like, oh, what a cool future world. Let's tell more stories there.
I mean, Bebop already always felt really fleshed out.
Yeah.
Like, even with just what little we saw on the show, there was a lot of really good world building.
You had all this technology, and then you had all these dirty not slums, but just cities, people living. You're like, okay, that makes total sense.
But like that was a good. It's like the original Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like everything isn't clean. It's dirty. It's lived in. Like this looks like people actually live here.
And then you have like
makes
this.
It's like what George Lucas said about the ships. You could see the rivets and everything that holds them together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to do world building without saying a word. Is that obviously this world is old. It didn't just pop into existence.
All right. Anyway, we have we have 5 minutes. Just enough. See where he goes in this explanation of why this is a masterpiece by Hideki Anno.
Regardless if Anno didn't have a clear path of where the story was headed, regardless that plot elements of the show had been removed due to its similarities in regards to horrible events that transpired in Japan a year prior, Anno and the animators were still able to create something really special. How it engrossed me in making me ultimately relate with Shinji.
Okay, let me just put this clear. Anyone who's an animator who has time on their hands and likes, drawing and has a team of people can do a self-referential sort of exposition on the psyche. Anyone can do this without any backstory. You take this episode, forget anything you watched prior. You'll be like, oh, that's weird. It's kind of, psychedelic and existential, but that's it. That's exactly what the show is. Until we get to episode 16 or 26 where you have the whole comedic farce with characters being in a rom-com for high schoolers. So it's so disconnected. It's just sad to see it.
How it made me understand better what a person like Anno might have gone through in his life.
Why do I care about what the writer went through in some part of his life, possibly? What relevance has that anything to do with the story? If someone writes a rape scene, am I going to think, oh, this guy obviously went through a rape? It's like, no.
Yeah, like the show is about Shinji, not Anno.
This is dumb. This is
like
not.
He's equating Anno to be Shinji.
You could say that, he probably has some aspects of his life that he was pulling from to get these emotions out. Sure. And you can say,
but every writer does that.
Yeah, you can go, I wonder what life event triggered that, because it's curious. It's always nice to postulate on why a writer wrote what they did. That's fine. But so what? Does that make the story any good? No. That's just you guessing what the writer was going through when he wrote or what he went through prior to when he was writing. So what? Who cares? I do not care how the sausage is made. I do not care what I'm eating. I want it to be tasty, delicious, and nutritious. That's what I need. Give it substance, give it flavor, and make it be easily digestible. That's all I ask for in my media. Just like my sandwiches. Anyway.
How it made me question myself and my existence through this conversation between these characters. I never saw Shinji.
No, it's just Shinji. He wants to be loved. That's it. And he doesn't know how to do that or how to give himself worth so other people can find him worthy of being loved. That's it. That's episode 25.
As a wimp or crybaby, I saw a boy who had difficulty in realizing his own existence. How hard it was for him to deal with it throughout his life. How he faced failure and overcame it in the end.
No, he didn't. He ran away.
And then
yeah,
he forced his hand into it.
He literally didn't. That's kind of the point of Ava.
Did he forget the scene where he's running away and he sees Kanji and he's watering the watermelons and Kanji has to give him this pep talk? Like, dude, I can just water the watermelons. I can't do anything, but you can do much more. He's like,
run back, Shinji, now.
He's pretty much you got to do something, man, or else who cares? Everyone's gonna die. Like, what do you do? And she's just like,
yeah,
okay.
Ava is a game end situation for all of humanity.
A gay man situation for all of humanity.
Game end. Bad end. We lost. We all died.
Oh, Gaiman. I thought Gay Man. I'm like, wait a second. What are we talking about?
Gay band?
A gay man band? Oh, God. Oh, boy.
By realizing that he has the power to look at things, at people, at the world, but especially himself in a different light. As explained to him, even something positive can be experienced on rainy days. And how everyone, in one of the most ridiculous but also satisfying conclusions, congratulates him in the last scene. And
This is literally Shinji reaching behind himself and giving himself a pat on the back.
Yeah, remember?
Yeah. That's the.
For doing
that's the
nothing.
scene.
Remember the
Like-
whole scene with Kylo Ren in Episode 9 where he fantasizes of his dad forgiving him?
Oh yes.
Just think of that
that's the
times 20, okay?
Oh my God! So J.J. Abrams was copying Evangelion. Wow,
Pretty much.
I never thought about that.
Like, this is the
No,
most
this is the
self-absorbed, like, I'm trying to think of how to say it. It's literally just Shinji's own brain saying, "I did good, yay me."
Yeah, you are a good boy. Good boy who people love you. We clap.
Like, remember, this is all in Shinji's head.
Yeah.
This isn't the actual group of people all saying, like, you did a good thing. This is his own.
Fantasy of, I don't know, his existence, what he wants, his desire. I don't get it. Like, no one knows exactly what the hell's going on. That's the problem.
Is it because like at one point I think Gendo was saying that this is the Human Instrumentality Project, and like, oh, so what is it then?
Yeah,
is it just like your dream, or
Is everyone Shinji? Is everyone seeing what Shinji's? Is everyone seeing what we're seeing? Is like, what's happening? Who's doing this? Is this a crazy acid trip? Like, what? I want to know what. I don't care what's in the dream. Just tell me what context this is in, so I can wrap my brain. So when they start clapping, I'm like, is this a good scene? Like, I don't know. It's like we're back down to ground zero with storytelling, because we're like, okay, who's doing what? Why are they doing it? What's happening? What consequences is this? Like, all the questions start popping up. You're just like, who?
I mean, the way I interpreted it when I watched it was this was Shinji accepting the instrumentality and it accepting him back. And that's why it appears as all these people clapping and saying congratulations.
That's a good enough answer. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's maybe.
I saw Shinji and I clapped.
The ending is here. It was fun.
There are times where something can be like you can be artsy and like have no real explanation, and then there's times like this.
Yeah, but
where you need explanation because of what led up to it.
I would say look at Utena High. It's pretty psychedelic. It's got all kinds of weird exposition and dreamscapes and crazy action scenes that defy gravity and physics. And you're like, okay, I get that. I know what they're trying to do. But the story is physical. The story is real. Yeah, some shots aren't, with like cars flying all over the place. That's fine. I get it. It's a weird world. This, you can't go from concrete to psychedelic and then just leave us there without explaining how he made the transition. It doesn't connect. They could make it connect. They can come back to reality. I don't care. But you have to make that connection and say, okay, now we're dreaming. Now Shinji's in control, and the rest. Where are the stakes? All of humanity is now gelatin, or all of humanity is now Shinji. All of humanity is seeing what we're seeing. Then okay, great. I need that. Like, I need to grasp the rest of the story. You can't just throw the story away. You can't just say, oh, this is all about Shinji. The story is not all about Shinji. Just because he's the protagonist. That's not how stories work. You have a world you created. You fleshed it out with characters with real personalities. They had real conflicts. And now we don't know. Anyway.
Ending the show on a smile. At the end of the day, when we talk about plot, in my eyes, it should never be seen as the end goal of making a film or a show.
What?
Okay. When you have
All you need is the human instrumentality project.
Yeah, I guess he just doesn't like plots. Like, why have just have a series of events where fun stuff happens? So just basically porn or explosions, or I don't know, just watch the Daytona 500. That's it's round and round, and it's cars.
At least that Daytona has some sort of plot.
Well, yeah, there's conflicts and things and advantages and disadvantages. Yeah, there's all kinds of events.
It's a masterpiece. Those finger puppet things on YouTube that are just random bullshit.
Oh, like those little kid, it's just to keep a child's
Yeah, it's literally just pieced together. I think some of it might be made by AI.
I mean, if you go back and watch those old TV shows that were literally just that, where it's just stimulation, it's just something to keep at attention. Just be like, ooh, bright colors, loud noises, yada. I mean,
apparently what this guy wants.
Yeah. It's just jangling keys in front of you the entire time.
Yeah, movie fun, animation good.
I wonder if he likes Mando.
Oh.
But rather as a means, almost as an excuse to dive deeper into themes that open our eyes to subject matters that are important for us to think about.
So you're trying to tell me the point of a story is a theme?
Them themes.
No.
He said it.
Yeah, I know. All right, that's a pretty sad conclusion for the entire breadth of storytelling, but sure, that's what he likes. Themes. Acid trips.
That cinema isn't just about telling a story. It's about expressing emotions. It's about expressing one's fears, their flaws, and their minds.
You do that in a story.
So,
otherwise, you literally just have a character going, I am afraid of this thing.
Yeah, no,
I feel this thing.
This is another element of the subjective response. Themes, and I want to feel things. How does it make you feel? Not, does the story make any sense for me to make sense of the story?
So should every show just have a moment where everyone just disappears except one character and they explain who they are?
Yeah, I like having meaning in my life. I find meaning by doing my job. My job helps other people. In doing so, they find meaning by getting what they want. I feel good. They feel good. I get paid. I wake up the next morning and repeat. Like, you can have these weird expositions. That's not why we have stories.
Why don't you work in Hollywood already?
Yeah, I know. I'm apparently amazing. I'm a master writer. I can come up with these stories. The reason why we look to masterworks like the Statue of David or the Sistine Chapel is there's reasons why they're still applicable today, even if we don't have any sculptors around or painters or fine artists anymore. We can look at the elements of the piece and say, look at how he composed this thing. Look at the composition of the Sistine Chapel, if you can perceive it. It's so big. And that's why we consider it a masterpiece, because he had to work through all of those pieces for so long in such a uniform way, with symmetry and balance and color. And just to think of doing that from one man is crazy. But he did it. And just the sheer, is it a wonder of the world, the Sistine Chapel? I can't remember if it is or not. But it's the same with the pyramids, all these other great works of humanity. It's like, that is amazing on scale, on detail, all the planning, all the logistics, all the ingenuity, the genius to work at that all that time and never lose focus or never stop. This is not a masterpiece.
The sheer capacity of actually capturing that much detail of the human body when we didn't really know that much about it.
Well, there's stylistic reasons why the Statue of David is the way it is. We can talk about that later, but I do not put the ideas of a definition of a masterpiece to the end, the last 2 episodes of Evangelion. That does not make sense. You can like it for whatever reason. I don't care. But to look at the art style is like, that's not very good. That's barely even passable as animation. The dialogue is just monologuing, and it's all just one weird dreamscape, which you might like those stories, that's fine, but you have to compare it to what came before. You had all these characters and plots and stories. This does not even register as this is a you know what, I'm too late. This is okay. Think of it like you're going to put on an art show. I don't know, maybe you're part of a school and you got all your kids, you trained them how to paint, and they're painting, they made their paintings, and you're like, okay, I can just showcase them in a classical way, hanging the paints on the wall. Everyone can walk around and look at them like a normal art gallery. Or I could put them on the ceiling. I could hang them at different angles. I could put different lighting. I could make it really weird. You have to like strain your neck, and you have to use a flashlight in some cases. That might be fun for some people, but everyone else is like, what the hell is this shit? I don't get this art. This is not an art gallery. This is a weird flashlight event where I have to look at paintings on a wall far away at the ceiling. So presentation matters, content matters, context matters. All these things matter when you're talking about a masterpiece, because a masterpiece is every element works the way it should in the best way it was created. So no, this is not a good example of a masterpiece. All right, here is Great Scott. Thank you for the 3. Just dropping in for a minute. Have to get back to work. Smud, can't you appreciate how much of mass extinction to complete dehydration and starvation? Pretty sure that pink goop everyone turns into isn't exactly healthy, and everything is dead anyway. No one knows. It doesn't make sense. The only thing I could think of is the LCL, and that's not even a living thing. It's just oxygen. Don't think about it. Anyway, 3 minutes.
And we realize better what our emotions are, what our fears are, our flaws, and especially how this shapes our deepest thoughts and insecurities. Cinema has the benefit of having endless possibilities to showcase anything through its visuals, through its sound, its music, and acting, and how this can come all together with the use of editing, which Neon Genesis Evangelion excels at constantly, showing at times really long
Here's the scene I was talking about. It goes on for 15, 20 seconds. It's just so, it's like, I don't need, no one needs this. Maybe 10 seconds, maybe just enough. It's like, okay.
I still will at least defend this opening scene to like give it some sense of like, oh, this is a normal city.
Right, but as soon as I hear that 80-second grasshopper cricket, I just like, oh god, get on with it. The power lines,
Yeah, I get it.
That's cicadas.
Cicadas? Yeah, it's so.
Smart. That was just world building.
Oh my god, drive me up a freaking wall.
Yeah, I get it. Like, even there's a lot of scenes where Ava just kind of holds on something, and it feels like it's just that bit too long.
And sometimes it works. In this scene, it like works to a point.
The elevator scene with Asuna.
Oh god. Nerve is really deep underground, guys. Did you know that? Did you? Asuka. You know how deep it is? Let's watch an elevator ride. That'll be fun. Yeah.
No. The point of that is the tension.
Let's watch a single shot for 30 seconds where one character moves maybe once and the other one fidgets. Like a little bit.
That scene
holds for about almost nearly a minute. It's like, okay, that's padding. There's building tension, and then there's padding. The elevator scene is padding. It's just padding.
There's no tension in these scenes, guys. I'm sorry. There's nothing happening.
No, yeah, no. I'm not saying it's tension. They're trying to build tension at all. I'm saying that scene is 100% just padding. Is all it is.
I think it was building tension, but I also think like it went on too long. Like It probably could have been 30 seconds shorter.
Yeah, if it was like
it still would have conveyed the tension of they just got out of like, I can't remember what happened before, but there was like a fight or something, and there's that silence, and then there's a moment where Asuka explodes. But I think that moment of silence is still important. It just could have been way shorter.
Exactly. Yeah. So this scene, I don't know exactly how long, but after you get the 5-6 second mark, your brain starts going, did the signal like stop? Did it freeze? Like, is the TV on? Like, what?
What they should have ended up doing is, instead of just having it stand there and do nothing, because Asuna just doesn't even barely looks at Rei either, and they wanted to try to build tension between the two of them. What it should have done is snap between the two of them, have her like look at Rei, look away, and just like be, stuff like that to build, instead of just a single wide shot in the elevator for 45 seconds. That would have done building tension more than just padding.
Okay. Let's keep...
Shots that culminate on extremely difficult choices that our characters have to make, but also contrasting beautifully with sudden fast-paced cuts to make us understand better the psyche of these characters. The show uses so many...
You're trying to tell me fast-paced cuts help us understand the psyche of... What?
I mean, it can. Like, Bebop did kind of the same thing.
Can illustrate thoughts.
But it's not so fast that you can't see
Bebop had cuts, but they weren't like... They're like a machine gun.
Well, it did with some of the Spike's memory sequences.
They had one clip and then a second one, and that was they went back to him falling, or they jumped to the Grey Bird music with him falling out of the cathedral, and they paired that with the glass falling with the torn knife.
They also did it near the end, during the fight with the Syndicate.
Right. But
he has one final memory of when he first met Julia, I think.
Yeah.
And there's a few shots that are like really fast in that, and it really does convey like what was happening. But
we've seen...
it's not so fast that you can't process what's actually happening in the shot.
Right, but we know because we've seen those sepia scenes before in other episodes, like when he's at the billiard table or he's falling down. Like, it's like, oh, he was with Julia. Okay. Another Julia scene. Okay, great. We get it. Another Julia scene inside her apartment. Okay, good. They're together. They're hugging. They're at the cemetery. Okay, like we get it. We don't need to know exactly what kind of relationship they have. It's obviously intimate and serious.
We see enough of
it. It's conveyed. We don't need any. Like, it's not. Doesn't dwell on it. It barely even mentions it. The fact that Spike is thinking of a girl. That's it. That's all we know. No one else knows who Julia is. She was part of the Syndicate in some fashion. That's it. Is she hot? Is she a killer? Is she a doctor? No one knows. Doesn't matter.
All we need for Julia is that one line Spike says after Jet tells the Kilimanjaro story. She was a part of me that I lost a long time ago.
And he's always looking for it. That's it. That's a plot. He has a reason to do something. It's a woman. Okay, great. And a lot of the storytelling in Bebop is like that. It's vague enough. Focus on exactly what that is. Show it. Done. Go on. Anyway, Evangelion is like that joke that just stopped being funny a minute ago and it's still dragging on. Anyway.
Tools in so many different ways to express something that can be really powerful, which encapsulates perfectly the last 2 episodes of this show. And in a twisted turn of events, realizing who Shinji is helps us identify ourselves even more.
Who he is? He's a big blob. Or that's what he is. Who he is, it doesn't matter who he is. He's a big blob. He can think whatever he wants. It doesn't matter. There's no physical thing for him to do anymore. He can't become... apparently they can leave the fluid. I don't know what the hell. That was the movie, though, I think.
Yeah, the end of the movie, Shinji and Asuka leave it. They're so toxic it kicks them out.
Yeah.
But technically, yeah, like they can choose to have physical forms, and those two to choose. Everyone else is like, we're fine.
All right.
The humanity shown in Shinji, as terrifying and depressing it may be, gives us insight to what people can go through mentally, including even ourselves, all expressed in a way I had never seen before. And this is why I believe the original ending to be...
So he's essentially saying...
He never watched early YouTube animations?
Yeah, he's never seen people animate walk cycles before, roughly... Or, geez, I'm trying to remember my childhood where I watched like these crazy shorts in between stuff and like the PBS or whatever. It was just like fun. What was that? The penguin claymation?
Pingu.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That was cute and fun.
Pingu.
It was just, it's animation. It's like, it's not a big deal. There's all kinds of that stuff.
His mind would like explode. He would be like, "Is this Japanese animation?
Oh my god, is it?
Oh look, it's Pen."
Depending how old he is, I'm curious if he ever went to Newgrounds.
Oh god.
Because this type of animation was everywhere on Newgrounds. I mean, that's what early internet animation was.
Motion tweening. What's that?
Yeah, it was this exact. Oh, what's that? Series
is this
called?
Rebuild of Evangelion?
Yeah, it's like all this.
Guys, don't go to Newgrounds. It's not good for you.
Very good for you. Depends on sanity level.
99% is pretty bad. The other half,
like everything.
No. This is
everything. Just
no. That's 90%. Not 99. Like it's really weird and bad and just perverse and God knows what else.
A masterpiece. I can't deny that watching this show 20 years later didn't benefit me. It did, because I had the opportunity to watch the director's cut versions of episodes 21 to 24, which not only deepened the
Where's the director's cut version of episode 25 and 26? The thing you think is a masterpiece.
It is included, but technically it's just the same episodes as they aired on TV, with updated quality, of course. But yes, like the director's cut do add some to the story. Thank God, they make more sense. But still, if you watch the last part of episode 24, then you will see that it's just a preview of End of Evangelion, the movie.
Oh.
So it's like denying the existence of 25 and 26.
So they're telling us indirectly that, yeah, it's...
Please, don't watch this.
Don't watch after.
Just go for the movie.
I don't think I was happy with the movie either, but it's fine.
Yeah, the movie was visually very appealing, and I think that's the nicest thing I can say.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I liked it while Asuka was like having like the upper ground and could like perform so many things, and like she got over her depression. But after like she gets down, it's just like the movie dies as well.
By the power of mommy, I break you all. And then
Mom loves me.
Yeah.
Oh no!
And then she gets gang raped by like 12 giant robots. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Events in episodes 25 and 26, but also tying perfectly with the film The End of Evangelion. How the film parallels
Not
perfectly
really.
with the existential nature found in episodes 25 and 26, and how we see the events of the third impact unfold throughout.
Okay, then why is Shinji depressed as hell in episode like in End of Evangelion? Because like you find him in the same state that he was at the end of 24, episode 24, after he killed Kaworu.
And why is there a giant version of Rei?
It's Lilith.
Because Rei merges with Lilith. Technically she just returns to the original body. So and because like technically like they the spear blocks Lilith from like growing more, and that's why it's like stuck on the cross. And if like that's removed, then it's just unleashed. Because there's no
Keep
angels
them
in
regenerating and
nearby,
everything else.
so they won't explode. And
Okay.
they don't have like natural enemy anymore.
All right. That was confusing, but it's
Yeah.
Eva.
It's stupid. Also, like it's never explained in the show.
Yeah, doesn't Asuka take the spear away from?
Well, yes, but like it doesn't have the soul. It's like just an empty shell technically. And like that was like the purpose of Kaworu, that like it would merge with Adam, but then it turns out that it's actually just Lilith, which is just the progenitor for the humans and like every life on Earth.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, like the spears are like supposedly like a way to stop if like Adam and Eve are two separate beings from the same race that would like go out and populate planets, and the spears were designed to stop them both if they ended up on the same planet. Because
Yeah, it's like
cause
an
some-
alien race accidentally
What?
lands like two of those separate races on one planet, and that's why they are attacking each other.
Yeah, and the spear was like a shutdown mechanism to stop that
Is
from
that
happening.
from the manga?
No. This is like material that Arno released after the what the fuck was that?
It's-
Like one
it's-
of the
it's
director
in-
cuts.
I watched the show recently, like within the last few months, and I didn't read any of the supplemental stuff. That's in one of the endings of the show somewhere where they explain why the spears do what they do, and why the spears are important. So
All right. Well,
The original.
it's all messed up and confusing, so don't don't worry. It's not a big deal. It's hard to grasp. All right, we're
It's been a
almost.
long time since I watched it.
Yeah, I know it's a little blurry.
And how our characters, Asuka, Rei, and Shinji, are involved in this. How the plot and character arcs do eventually intertwine and come to an end, presenting us with the ambiguous scene between Shinji and Asuka, where we see Shinji reacting aggressively towards Asuka, which results in her caressing his face. How Shinji then breaks down emotionally until
Such
the
a
moment
terrible scene.
Look at this. It's just like she's a puppet at this point. She's almost barely alive. She can't even look at him. She's like,
Dead
She had
inside.
enough. She's like, you just masturbated next to me. Like,
Yeah.
go away. Ugh.
civilization is over. Everything you know and love is gone.
I just felt my own body get ripped apart because for some bizarre reason they thought it was a good idea to make us feel pain when our robot gets broken. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Asuka now has the head wound that Rei had in the beginning.
yeah. Symbolic. It's like poetry.
So that they rhyme.
ends with Asuka's line, "How disgusting." How there are a million ways to try and explain what happens in this moment, especially if we consider the scenes between them throughout the film. But I do believe it to be more positive, especially when we realize
How disgusting. What a positive moment.
I don't think anything about Ava is positive.
What the fuck? The entire civilization of man is reduced to liquid. It's
I think it'll
positive.
mess you up if you watch this as a teen.
You gotta have the greatest optimistic mindset in the world to look at this garbage and go, oh yeah, it's optimistic message.
It's just clearly a hopeful message.
Like, what the hell? Like, usually it's like a flower or a petal growing at us. It's like, oh yeah, out of all this rubble, all this destruction, there's still life. It's like, okay.
Yeah, like this is like as like nihilistic as it gets when it comes to like the end of the world.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah. Don't watch this as an early teen.
I can't. This. Oh jeez. Optimism, sure.
the original end of episode 26, because in the midst of such a terrifying moment, there was a sign of hopefulness. How Asuka acknowledges Shinji's existence and what he needed at that time.
He needed a head pat. Oh.
He did a head pat all the time.
If only Shinji got the head pats he needed, we'd have a better story.
All he needed.
Japan, what is wrong with you?
Head pats.
The greatest form of affection, the head pat. Okay.
All the world needs to die before Shinji gets a head pat.
Yeah. All it takes is one Japanese formality between friends or parents. If you only had patted your children, this wouldn't have happened.
Which episode 26 teaches us that even on rainy
It doesn't teach us shit. I'm very sorry. No, it doesn't teach us anything aside from how not to animate an episode.
days, we can experience something good from it. How both the original episodes and the film are complementary to each other and are needed to fully comprehend everything that happens, even if it takes multiple.
No. Dude.
No. The movie is in response to the
Backlash.
torrent of what the fuckery was that ending.
This is not some brilliant, super murder mystery where you didn't collect all the clues and you didn't connect all the dots. And you have to reread it and rewatch it. This is, oh shit, we ran out of time and money. We made some psychedelic crap. Now we have to make sense of it now that we have more time and money. And people are asking for that. And they still don't know what to do. Aside from at least have some scene with the main characters do some shit.
It's like Warhammer.
Well, Warhammer at least has some degree of logic and following rules. as
Warhammer
extreme
has none of that.
as extreme as they are.
Oh,
This is
they don't know. They don't know where to take that story.
Well,
they have known for 20 years.
There's a lot of stories after zero.
It's just random stuff.
Yeah, in this one, everyone's gone. Everyone's a liquid. We have giant robots that have been crucified.
In that sense, Evangelion makes more sense.
Oh yeah, everyone's dead.
Yeah,
that makes more sense. Everyone's a big pile of LCL. Okay.
Everyone's dead. Here's your collective consciousness. Go home.
Yeah, here's a bunch of T-frame poses of our robots that stopped working. Yeah. And a giant ray.
Multiple viewings to form our own opinions and analysis on what they mean to each of us, both psychologically and emotionally. I didn't have to wait a year to witness all of this, or even weeks. I watched all of it in 1 week and I was in awe of its brilliance. But nothing can ever take away the moment.
I suppose if you don't know anything in life and all you do is binge watch one show, you think, oh, that was crazy cool. Wow.
All you do is watch cartoons and anime.
Well, no, this guy never
What a
watched
life.
anime. He's never watched it. He's never seen an anime thing at all. All he knows is that Hiroshima was an event and anime existed after that. And then
Evangelion started right
Evangelion-
after Nagasaki.
yeah, exactly.
Evangelion may blow you away if you don't know any other.
Life experience.
Yeah, but that's mainly what it was big with.
If you've never
In the early teens who didn't have access to anime because because there was none.
Aside from
The
Sailor
only
Moon.
piracy from the internet.
Yeah. This is the late 96, 98. No,
I
sorry,
want to say it was 97.
96, 97. Yeah.
95 when it began and
Started.
it ended at 96.
Yeah. So two
Then the
seasons.
movie next year.
Yeah, two
Yeah,
seasons.
then you get a modem, and then you slowly get the 25 megabyte episodes.
Ah. And then you had 5 years later Naruto. And you're like, oh. Shonen Jump is a thing.
And
I
One Piece,
witnessed the
One Piece is
scene
still going.
in episode 26. That, for me, is the true nature of everything that makes Neon Genesis Evangelion one of the best shows I've ever seen. But most of all, one of the best character studies of all time.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh, come on,
No.
Shinji is barely a character.
A character
Like if
study?
he was making this
and
about
that is the point.
if he was making this about Masato, Gendo, Asuka, even Rei. Yes, he's right. Shinji, no, Shinji is not a character.
Shinji is Ano holding a mirror to the audience and going, "Look how pathetic you are."
All right.
And then the response to that is, no.
Oh, great. There's a amazing. I actually saw this before. This is Shinji's rant. I'm doing stream memes right now because I'm tired. There's an amazing Fly Me to the Moon video from Joe Crazy and Stream Memes. Check it out. It's really good. I won't play it because I want to cover it, but oh boy, here we go. This is going to take some time. Here we go. Oh no, not Joe Rogan. So yeah, after he was done, he said, "I'm the lowest of the low."
Oh, good lord.
Ooh.
That's such a good reaction image for Joe Rogan on that one. Just the what the fuck?
What the fuck? Oh, Evangelion fans, when they realize that Asuka lying half naked on the beach at the end of 3.0 plus 1.0 is physically 28 and not a minor.
Yeah, that is the legit title of the show.
Yes, because instead of just saying 4.0, Anno has to be, well, Anno, and it's 3.0 plus 1.0.
So everyone's 10 years older?
Technically, 14 years has passed, so like everyone is 28 in that
so
one.
Basically, what they said in these movies, the pilots don't age. For some reason, the pilots don't age.
Past puberty.
So they can move. So it's purely so they can move time forward and have the world change for Shinji, and everything and all the characters, the pilots stay the same. Because Ritsuko changes, Kusanagi changes, Gendo changes, like they all look different. Pilots stay the same.
Yeah. All right.
It's just a giant stage play after all, just like the in-between scenes.
Let's just ignore this one. You see this fictional character. I'm not afraid to admit that I've lost...
Read ahead on that one, Smudge.
I have killed millions of my offspring to the thought of having an intercourse with a cartoon. And then this is, can you please just go outside? There is a certain appeal to Ray, but it's definitely not sexual. I'm sorry. Jeez.
My favorite thing about this next image is the icon for the Zoro with the Luffy face. That's the best part of this whole image. It's just the cursed Zoro with the Luffy face.
Yeah. Look who fell asleep first. Prank him, John.
See, and here's the best part is you can hear "Prank him, John" coming out of that face.
Yeah. Santa Claus isn't real. Grew up, idiot Shinji. We're the ones who buy all of your gifts. No, you're wrong. Why would someone else eat his cookies and milk? What?
Yeah, that makes just as much sense as everything in the last two episodes.
Syrian. Who's Syrian?
That's not how you spell Syrian. It's not how you spell it, Matthias.
What's this? What is this?
Don't be too harsh on him. He's Brazilian.
Oh. Thanks, Matthias. The Virgin Evangelion pilot and the Chad Titan pilot. Oh, Titanfall. Okay. All right.
Titanfall 2 pilot at that.
Getting the robot. How about you getting some bitches? Ooh. There you go. Smud, new isekai. You know what? That's a pretty good meme. I'm always I'm always looking at new isekai, and I devour them.
The next one.
When your man choking you, and you low key like it, but then he whisper, "I've dealt with your shit for too long."
Oh my god.
Oh dear. Okay. How disgusting.
This is the American version.
I don't know what the... This is the...
That's the redraw of that scene from The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I see it now.
What the... What's happening? Little guy in the bottom there.
It's an angel. I think it's the angel that blinds her.
Okay. That's when she loses her mind, yeah. See that? See this scene with Eska when she's trapped in the robot and she can't get out. That is how you do exposition in a psychedelic whatever way that you want. That worked.
Oh, I think that's the paper angel.
Oh yeah.
That made sense. That had a plot relevance. That a character. That we had reality jumping back into her mind. We had all these things. It made sense. That's all we need.
That was a cool scene.
That was a very cool scene. See, there's very good scenes in this show, and then there's really dumb ones at the end. I think I made a mistake. Our daughter. Oh my God.
Justin, get out of the robot.
No. This is the official ending of Evangelion. No argument. What does that say? Retake?
I think
Okay.
it's a manga,
Is it a manga?
or it might be a doujin.
It's probably Dojin. More than likely. Life imitates Artor? Whatever the hell. Smud, I didn't position the capybaras the way I just found it this way.
Okay.
Alrighty. Thanks, Mike.
Next one.
Yeah. Brief history of Japan. Oh God. My
Or
God.
Explosion Gangudo. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sad.
They got that tam from the bomb.
I mean, it's not wrong. The series of
Technically,
events played out in that order.
radiation can cause certain skin coloration, but then you'd be dead within minutes. Oh boy. Oh my God. What is this? Oh, that crazy looking face app. Okay, good. The cosplayer and that. Ugh.
Looks like a standard feminist.
Yeah. That's
It's all
not.
this face app stuff.
I don't know, but that's pretty good. It's like a Disney princess almost.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, yeah. That is. I don't know who that actress is, but again, very good, very nice. Oh wow, that's amazing! I love that. But who's the girl? Who's the actual cosplayer for? Asuka?
She's well known for her Asuka cosplay because she does a really good.
Yeah,
Asuka. That's how she got popular. That's how she got known, was her Asuka cosplay. I can't think of her actual name.
Yeah, she's pretty
or
good.
her online name that she goes by.
All right. Wow, the Christian imagery in Evangelion really shows the nuances in religion and its cataclysmic effects on humanity. Gosh, I sure do hope people like my cool Ultraman references.
Oh yes.
Yeah, considering Ano just chose Christian iconography because he thought it looked cool.
Yeah. It's the same with
because it looks cool.
It's the same with Xenogears. Xenogears has a very memorable scene where a series of robots are on crucifixes or being crucified, along with the giant transformed version of a pink fur ball. So, in case you don't know who Choo Choo is, go look up Choo Choo Xenogears and you'll...
Christianity in Japan is not a huge religion. It is very niche.
Yeah, well...
It's more looked at as a curiosity, not as anything serious.
I think Japan has a very liberal mind to everything religious. So it's not just Shintoism. It's not just
Shintoism is the major is the vast majority.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Of there, but nowadays, yes, it's probably grown a bit, but especially in the 90s when
when
Ano was writing this.
When you read or watch any anime or manga, it's always going to be a Shinto-ish thing. There's always going to be
because that's
their culture.
The main
Exactly.
But people who, especially here in the West, who take Evangelion and go, they're being critical of Christianity. It's like, no, they're not. They just use these words because they like them and they like the iconography. It's
that Marge meme where she's like, I just think they're neat.
Yes, that's literally what Ano did, and he said this directly.
Same reason they use German words so often. because they think they sound cool.
Oh boy. Congratulations, said Walter White and Jesse Pinkman. Congratulations, says Big Boss Man. Congratulations, said Metroid. Congratulations, says Rimu Hakure. Congratulations, said the G-Man. Congratulations, says Godzilla with a Gatling gun strapped to it. Okay. Oh boy. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Oh yeah, when they basically
That original
remade,
video is fucking great.
when they remade, or in the 3.1 or 3.0 3.1 movie, when they did like the whole impact, they used a lot of CG in that one.
Yeah.
And
In fact, the giant Ray in that one is live action Ray.
it is. It's just with the filter. Didn't know that. But yeah, it's.
It is live action, yeah. If you look at the eyes, it's just way too realistic to be CG.
Oh no. Remember when you were visiting Asuka in the hospital and you came right as you turned her over? It was me, Shinji. I jerked you off with a super speed so it seemed like you nutted at just the sight of a woman's breasts.
I fucking love the reverse flash meme.
Jeez.
You
It's
know,
so
you know what?
stupid.
Like, you actually made End of Evangelion better.
Yes, you did.
Just the sheer reason that, like, Shinji didn't do it himself. This, like, made the movie better.
Yeah.
It makes Shinji better.
Was that the X-point paradox? What's the paradox called? The
I thought it was Flashpoint Paradox.
Flashpoint paradox. There you go. Thank you.
Flashpoint, yeah.
There you go. Me uses knife to save ammo. Everyone else at laser tag. Huh? A knife. A laser
What do you
knife.
got there? A knife! No!
No. Think, Shinji, think. If you don't pilot the Eva, Ray will have to do it again. Oh, yeah. Is that, who's that in the clouds there?
I think it's.
It's Ray.
It's Ray. It's some version of Ray.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
No.
people really like Asuka. If you didn't know.
And that's Ray's uniform?
In
or Asuka's?
20 years.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably Asuka's uniform on the right. Okay.
Yeah.
A shrine. Oh my god, she has the German cross. That's fascinating. Okay. Interesting. More Ray. Or sorry, more Asuka. What the? Oh. What the hell?
Poking her in the eye.
Poking her in the eye.
I didn't get it at first.
It's when she gets blinded by during the sniper or the sniping
Yeah.
mission.
You normies, it was an Evangelion reference. Oh my god. Oh dear. Mark saying her name in a funny way is why Nuff said.
Misato?
Misato?
I didn't say Misato.
I think it's just with your accent. It came out sounding like mistletoe.
All right. Another video I won't play. I don't know what that is, but I will play it later. Thank you. Don't be intimidated, Shinji. Try to imagine her as the most despicable thing from her country. Oh no, she's hot.
The video is just basically King of the Hill, but put two Cool Angels thesis
No, there's too many of
with
those.
a bunch of
There's too many Cruel Angel thesis videos out there. Anyway, Evangelion is deep and original. The General zapped an angel, 1978. Evangelion, 1996, I think. There was a lot of giant robot shows in Japan, and we did want our story to have a religious theme to help distinguish us, because Christianity is an uncommon religion in Japan. We thought it would be mysterious. None of the staff who worked on Eva are Christians. There is no actual Christian meaning to the show. We just thought the visual symbol of Christianity looked cool. And that's Kazuya Tsurumaki. Okay. Cyber City. Oh, geez, that's an old one. Cyber City. And Evangelion. Yeah, okay. Too deep for you. Oh, wow. cosplayers. Okay, look. Oh. Why is there a mirror between your legs? What? Oh, dear.
Which what Oscar's saying.
This is what a pussy looks like. Har har. More. I don't want to play. You cannot play Uno. These are awesome. Here we have. I've ordered a Happy Meal, but I'm still sad. What? Yeah. Well. Oh, poor Asuka. All right. Well, this is one of those shows that I don't recommend everyone watch.
Yeah, like I said, even though I like it, I completely understand why there's a lot of people who don't.
Yeah, it's a tough sell, especially when because some of those episodes when you're getting to 20, they're pretty good. Like they're actually like, oh wow, they're developing some scenarios. They're getting some characters killed off. It's like, okay, stuff is happening. The seal is moving and doing their own mysterious things, and Shinji's still Shinji, but it's like, okay, what's going to happen? You're curious. It's a mystery, and then it just ruins everything.
Yeah, and that's why you grow out of it.
Yeah. It's like you're watching a really good murder mystery, and then there's no ending. You're like, what the? It takes everything away from you. And you stop watching stuff. You stop participating in events, not just entertainment, but just events that you get no payout, you get nothing for it.
And it's not Seal, it's Seele. That's German for soul.
My apologies. You're right. It was German.
That's what I mean with German words because they sound cool.
Yeah, I know. But same with
like others use English words because they sound cool.
Yeah, same with Christianity. Yeah, they liked the way it looked. The Spear of Longinus sounds cool. It's like, what the hell is that? Nothing related to anything. Just why not? So
it was a thing. It was there. It didn't do that much.
Wasn't a big deal. Anyway,
it didn't have magical powers. Was just there.
There's lots of great stories that have that as an element of a relic or some sort of spiritual powered thing that turns you into vampires or whatever. So it's like, oh, okay. Have mythos for your fantasy stories and have it work well. Don't just throw mythology terms around and try to construct a story. It doesn't work. That's not how you do it. Anyway, thank you guys. That was our trying to understand a fanboy's learning of what anime is. I don't know. I don't think he's ever watched any other anime in the world.
I don't even know
10 years when you watch more.
Call him a fanboy. He's just. I don't know.
He's had to watch some because unless he just looked up clips for all the other stuff that he was all the other anime he was showing, but he was pulling stuff from pretty deep into other series. It wasn't just random episodes.
He really has seen a lot.
Yeah.
I think his portfolio is rather small.
Yeah, and I don't think anime
probably he
was
probably
caused.
just watches just shonen stuff.
Well, maybe that would be
probably at the beginning of his journey.
Yeah, I think
that would make sense why he holds Eva so high if he only watched
there's nothing
the
wrong
normal
with
stuff.
If all you enjoy watching is shonen, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just it seems that's his only.
Honestly,
standpoint.
maybe Eva was his first, so it holds a really special place for him. Maybe that's it.
Well, yeah, we think of Sailor. I remember watching Sailor Moon for the first time, going, "Wow, I've never seen this before," or rather, I've never seen this on TVs. I have seen anime in movie format when you rented at weird shops that rent anime in the 80s and 90s. But after school, it's like, what? Anime? That's weird. Cute girls running around fighting, I don't know, aliens. That was neat.
Pretty sure my first anime besides Pokemon was Fooly Cooly.
Oh, what a great anime to start off. That's awesome.
That's a dichotomy.
Yeah.
It was one of the first nights I stayed up late enough to watch Adult Swim and Fooly Cooly was playing.
Mine would either have to be.
I'm pretty sure it was the Bat episode too. The one with the satellite falls.
From the stuff that wasn't on TV already by then, we didn't know was anime. My first ones that weren't available here were Evangelion, then Lane. Then I was just fucked up.
For me, it probably would be Cowboy Bebop or maybe original Full Metal, since that was showing on Toonami.
That wouldn't be made for many years. But Lane as the second anime I've seen.
Wow.
That just.
I mean, I was
at that age. No, I needed a break.
Yeah, that's not good.
What did I go through
Yeah.
here?
Oh my God.
I mean, like, for me, like.
Hey, the soundtrack was amazing.
I mean, I was like 6 when Full Metal Alchemist was first being made, so.
I mean, I was in my early teens, so.
Lane is not for everyone, even if you're an adult. It's not.
I have an album from the band with signatures. I'm happy.
Same with Elfin Lied. Also very mature and adult and violent and dark.
And yeah, but it looks like it wanted to have a second season but didn't.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it definitely was something that was. There was supposed to be more, and
it was like, oh, the plot starts now. Oh, the season's over.
Yeah. Speaking about anime, any other time, I was hoping we could do this Monday, but you guys voted for it. Well, you actually voted for another video, but that was just a guy saying no.
It's just a random anime talk on Monday if we don't have a video.
Yeah. We could just do that. That'd be fun. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I actually enjoyed going through this because Evangelion is one of those things. I have these weird philosophies in my media experience, and it's one of them is Hideki Anno must be stopped, and and it goes along with Hideo Kojima must be stopped. So I have gaming and anime covered, and those are the two people I look to.
Just watch Hideaki Anno's live action movie Ritual, and you will understand everything.
Oh, really?
Okay. Hideaki Kojima.
Yeah.
Seriously, watch it, and you understand that the long scenes in Evangelion that's not an accident.
Yeah, no. This happens.
Watch it.
This is very common.
Watch Ritual.
This is very common in not just Japanese but Asian storytelling. There's lots of pauses and philosophical moments, and just things where people just don't do anything. And it's the ambiance.
It's beyond punctuation. Yes, please watch Ritual and tell us what you think.
Okay.
It's a really shame because like Hideaki Anno, like I have like looked through the animation credits that he had done because he basically started at Ghibli, and then worked his way up like places, and like the kind of work that he had done, it's like amazing. Like he's like a complete beast.
If I remember correctly, too. In Fooly Cooly, the main character's dad wrote about Ava, and I think that was meant to make fun of Ava.
Yes, yeah, there are like a lot of inside jokes in there.
Yeah, Gainax and Trigger, since ex-Gainax people, they're willing to poke fun at themselves when
yeah, but
they realized it was nonsense, and
yes, they blatantly will poke fun at themselves, which give them credit. They don't sit like oh no, everything we make is good. They go, yeah, we made a mistake there.
It seemed like a cool idea on the storyboard.
Yeah, and then we got it animated, and then we went, oh good lord.
Oh, we did a thing, but we don't have time to change it.
Yeah. Well.
Let's hope nobody notices for the next 10 years.
In any event, Cowboy Bebop's not getting a second season live action, so go get a drink.
Call up to celebrate.
Party, definitely. Yeah. Crack the champagne.
We just need a quick Cowboy Bebop live action is canceled with a crab rave video.
Yeah. Sadly, I don't have access to drinks right now.
Oh. Well, we could solve that later on in the week, but not right now. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys.
Oh yes. When I'm back home, let's just do a celebration stream that Cowboy Bebop does not get a second season.
Yes, I'm there.
Let's just sit here, no video, just chill and chat and drink.
You know how bad that show is? Yeah, it was really bad.
Which is Cowboy Bebop canceled by Netflix on screen. That's all there is.
Yep.
Dancing on. Yeah, Cowboy Bebop canceled, dancing on its grave.
I think that idea, which is mine, is totally awesome, and we should do it.
All right. Well,
it's just that meme image with the dude like giving the peace sign on top of the grave, and it's just that guy, Cowboy Bebop anime, Cowboy Bebop live action in the grave. Just that.
A poorly rendered Spike Spiegel default dancing on it on Netflix's grave.
Mom, can we have Cowboy Bebop? No, we have Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop at home. Cowboy Bebop at home.
All right. Well, that's a great idea. I think we'll get that organized either this week or next week, and we'll talk to you guys real soon about that. Have yourself a good evening, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.